2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Yo, it is perfect, folks. It's Tuesday night. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. My name's Tony Dunn. We're here every Tuesday night. You can catch up with us by calling into the Cat Calls line. The number's 252-228-5098. We're here every week chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I do it each week with Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, what's up, brother? It's another Tuesday night, and like always, there's nowhere I'd rather be than right here with my boys talking about some Panthers with the best, most lit Panther fans in all of YouTube. Underground West, Susan Dean, Sarah Taylor, Tommy Doc Martin, Trill Warren, Joey the Blind Panther. I love that name. That's Joey Esquire, by the way. Shout out, Joey. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Man, we've got, really, we don't have a ton to talk about because it is kind of the starving time of the news cycle. The NFL schedule will be coming out Thursday, and people have been making fun that it's going to be a 3-hour event. And I still want to ask, what else do you guys have to do? Why do you guys even care that it's 3 hours? Make it 6. We'll be tweeting about it, I'm sure, the whole time because there's nothing else to talk about when it comes to the sports world, really. So we've got that to look forward, but really we're just kind of sifting through the latest rumors and news, and we've got CK here, as usual, to break it up with us.
How's it going, man? Super excited, I guess. No, I think that's probably just fake.
Hope springs eternal.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I guess the only thing we have to look forward to is Warzone on Saturday and Sundays, right? Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
For me, I get to look forward to it for 2 weeks because, or about
2 straight weeks.
Yeah, close to it, about 12 days or so between I get off work and I get to continue to do what I've been doing for the last 3 months now. It feels like.
it's gonna be super funny, Greg. After this 2 weeks, Tony's gonna be better than both of us.
Yeah, I mean, he's already better than me, so.
All right. Greg's in the house, the man, the podcasting legend who expands into to all territories.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Big stuff, man. Oh man, it's doing pretty good, man. Just tired. Long weekend, long week. Tuesday night, I just want to sit down, drink a beer, and talk Panthers football with Panthers fans. And there's some crazy ideas out there to stir the pot up.
It is fun hanging out with you guys talking about the Panthers each and every week. We've been doing it now for this, I think, is our 9th season we're doing the show. And my wife makes all of these plans to hang out with her friends and try to keep her social ties going. And I just keep living my life the same way, and that is getting on the internet and chopping it up with Panther fans. Go ahead and subscribe to the show. Smash the thumbs up button. We're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Let's go ahead and jump into the conversation, guys. The real news, or if any, it's not even news. I call it fake news. But there is a quote. Joe Person went on WFNZ and said that Matt Rhule was interested in trading back, but it was Marty Hurney that wanted Derrick Brown. And then the guys that the hate Marty Hurney crowd comes to life, talking about how nothing's changed. The Panthers are a broken organization. And even Jordan Rodriguez fired a shot today. She didn't know it because she tries to be Miss Perfect. I mean, and not in a mean way. She's nice and she's trying to be respectful all the time. But she put up a picture. She was talking about the analytics room with the LA Rams, and she said, the Panthers don't have one of those. So a lot of people have come out and said nothing's changed. We've debated on this show whether or not this team was the reins were going to be given over to Matt Rhule, how much of the fingerprints of this draft were on Marty Hurney. Guys, what do you make of this story? Because the one you guys linked, I don't buy at all because it comes from fake news source number one, Fox News.
Well, I mean, so listen, this is what I've been kind of on for a long time, that Marty Hurney has much more power than we give him credit for. I feel like there's this notion amongst Panther fans that either you don't like Marty Hurney, and I kind of consider myself to be one of those people, even though he did have a good draft, in my opinion. We haven't seen him on the field yet, but he had a good draft. I think he had a decent draft last year as well. But we have to get over this notion that all of a sudden Matt Rhule, after signing a brand new contract, after having never coached a snap of NFL football, has now come into the Panthers organization and completely taken over the reins. And Marty Hurney is just this lackey of David Tepper, who's basically just some dum-dum doing what he's told to do. I don't believe that. I firmly believe, and I have believed for a long time, that David Tepper really does like Marty Hurney and respects his ability to scout talent and from the college level. And, this does not surprise me that this is true. I've been saying this is true. Marty Hurney has real sway and power in the organization, and he has his hands over most all things that we do.
This whole Wizard of Oz routine is not true. All right, I disagree. So here is that we.
What do you mean by Wizard of Oz? So
like the man that's like behind the curtain controlling the scenes is truly Marty Hurney. If the Wizard of Oz might be David Tepper, I might kind of believe some of that. But look, is that this transition went exactly like they told us it was going to happen, right? Is that Marty Hurney was being retained because he's been in the NFL system, the game, the draft. He's been a GM for a long time. He had the scouts. It was his scouting people that were in place. And that while they were bringing in Matt Rhule with this long contract and putting so much faith behind him, that it would be foolish for us to also ask him to learn how to be a NFL coach, an NFL GM, all and in such a short amount of time with no contacts put together this. Because when we look at the staff, I mean, these look like Matt Rhule's guys. When we look at the free agent acquisitions, they look like guys that Matt Rhule and Joe Brady would have advocated for, not necessarily Marty Hurney going, oh, well, let's go sign these guys that used to coach, and let's go get Teddy Bridgewater because he's familiar with Joe Brady. So I do think that Marty Hurney's influence is important, and it is influential, but I don't think he fully has ownership of the vehicle, and I think that he might just be a temporary driver.
Yeah, and David Tepper has kind of said as much, hadn't he? Greg, why don't you jump on this one, man? Because I know you've had your theories about.
No, I mean, honestly, man, just think about listening to what Tony was saying right there. I kind of think you're spot on, Tony. I think that Hurney is temporary. I think that they've made that clear. Otherwise, they would have, announced that he's the guy of the future. And they even said they're keeping him there as kind of a consultant to begin with.
Because as a GM, he's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
That was bad. Tepper's words. So, he's great.
Exactly.
He's amazing with the draft. But as a GM, he's not that bad.
And well, I mean, he hasn't done that bad, I guess, in the last couple of drafts. But the thing is, I'm with you, Tony. I think that he has some control. I mean, he definitely has to. He's the GM. He has to have some kind of control, but he's not in full control. I mean, because you even heard Matt Rhule say, I picked these people. I picked this guy because I'm running this. I'm running this team. I'm in control. So there's got to be different degrees for each person, I guess. So, I mean, I think it's spot on what you were saying.
Can we talk about this, though?
All right, great.
And this is a question for everyone. So, okay, I mean, we have never seen Derrick Brown play yet. So, basically, it's Derrick Brown at 7, or you trade back. Now, we don't know what player we would have taken if we trade back, but there are, and again, who knows if this is real, but there were rumors that the Panthers may have even have gotten a first-round pick in the 2021 draft next year, but they didn't want it, and they instead chose to stick with Brown at 7. So not having seen Brown play, and just from where you are right now, what would you rather do? Draft Derrick Brown at 7 or have another first-round pick in 2021, if that was indeed the case?
Well, don't you think that these draft games, this is like war games, like this is what where we're playing here is war games, but we're fielding all these hypotheticals that are really merited. Like, I don't believe that there's a lot of substance to the discussions, right? So, like, really, you're trying to tell me Joe Person goes on the radio and says this, and he knows with a hard source that the Panthers had real trade offers, and that Marty Hurney was the one that made this decision, kind of overriding that. He's not even going to write a expose on that. He's not going to write a story on that.
I mean, why say that then? Why even say?
I think he floated it out there more, and I'm going to have to go track out his exact quote, but that there were calls, but they decided not to take it. Now, I don't know. We hear that kind of crap all the time. I don't know. But here, if it's true, Cody, if all of these people are right that this is how it happened, then Matt Rhule's a bitch. I mean, you're trying to tell me you just got an 8-year deal with a team. You come in as the guy that needs to be the savior, and then you got this tag-along GM, and his will overrides you. I would throw a fucking shit fit. And I promise you that I would have called David Tepper right up and said, homie, this is not what I fucking signed up for.
Right.
So that makes Matt Rhule complicit. This is not like, I would. You know what? Matt Rhule probably said the same shit he's been saying the whole time, which is this like real coach speak, which is like, hey, we'll keep all the options on the table. Of course, we'd love to. There's a lot of holes to fill. I mean, it's like I just don't buy either. This is kind of just rumor mill, slightly exaggerated, or Matt Rhule's a bitch.
Who do you all want to have the final say? Matt Rhule's a first-year head coach, again, who has not coached a snap of professional football, or Marty Hurney? Who do you want making the final call on what we're doing draft night? Who has the final
Well, this is a fucking trap question.
Right. Well, let me ask you something, Cody. If you pay a quarterback $40 million a year, who do you want starting in the game?
The quarterback.
Exactly. So if you give a guy 8 years, is that what we gave him?
Yeah, like $60 million or some shit like that.
Yeah,
or whatever, something crazy.
Like that's the guy you want making the
point
decisions.
you're making, though. The problem with that point is Matt Rhule wasn't hired to be the GM.
Yes,
that's like what that I guess analogy is going to be really beneficial if you're saying, do you pay the quarterback to also play linebacker? then at that point in time, I agree. But Matt Rhule was hired for one job only, and that was to coach this team and to build up these players and actually develop them.
But we've also heard, though, when he interviewed with the Jets, right? Scott Mason with Play Like a Jet, who's come on our podcast several times, he said that, he slayed it in New York when he interviewed like they wanted him, he just was the hot name. But he said that he wanted full control of his staff, and they did not want the New York administration is too hands-on for that attitude. So it's not like he comes in here like, all I want to do is coach.
Agreed, but I mean, those are again two different things. Like if he's saying he wants to be in control of his staff, fine, he can be. What we fail to realize is that Marty Hurney is still the boss of Matt Rhule. Yeah. Like that is the hierarchy. It's Tepper,
do you believe
Hurney,
that?
Rule.
Okay, but Tony, we're doing.
That's like saying that, like my kids, that I'm technically the boss of my family because it's like my wife.
But that's what I was trying to say earlier, man. So we keep on doing this conspiracy thing with Marty Hurney. Like we all just, so what? Do we all just think that he's just some dolt that goes up there and just does interviews because David Tepper is nice enough to let him? Like if we think that if we think that Marty Hurney is just this push around guy, and we're letting everybody else have all the say so, and we don't believe that he's actually behind things, then what is he actually doing?
I think he's authentically trying to contribute. I think he's trying to be a team player, man. I don't think he's trying to be the boss. I think they're really, and we've heard Matt Rhule talk about this over and over and over again about how great of a working relationship it's been. So it's kind of like when I go to work and I work with my boss, like, yeah, she's my boss, but she don't come in barking orders at me going, remember, I'm the boss. Is that at the same time, usually we're kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. And then, I guess if there's at some point someone has to make the final decision and the responsibility of the decision and the results of that decision lie more with them. Right. So I think that Rhule gets kind of a pass on a little bit of this because of that, because it's going to be Hurney's head that rolls.
I'll ask this final bit. Do we believe that David Tepper has entrusted Marty with all final say-so on all personnel decisions as the general manager?
No, I don't believe that.
Then, in my opinion, I don't even know why he's there. I mean, like we're even debating. Even the chat room doesn't know. Like we're debating, like who drafted these players. Is this a Matt Rhule draft? Are these the players that Matt Rhule wanted, or is this a Marty draft?
It sounds like you're agreeing with me, man.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just saying that, like, I'm not saying that I think Marty Hurney has more power in this organization than we give him credit for.
I would say influence.
No. Well,
no, power. I said power.
Power. Well, here's the thing: is if Marty Hurney is the one who's in control of this draft. Like, Tony, you were talking about how Matt Rhule, you're basically saying he was kind of a bitch, and if he didn't get what he wanted in this situation about not having control. And CK, you said Matt Rhule didn't get hired to be the GM, and you're absolutely right. But you've got to have a GM and a coach work well together.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to want a GM that drafts. If a coach has a vision and something they want to do, and Matt Rhule wanted to trade back that bad or didn't. But see, that's the other thing. We don't know if it was bad. We don't even know if it's real. Right, let's just imagine that he wanted to trade back that bad, and he and Marty Hurney didn't do it. Then he's kind of rolling over.
Right, exactly. Here's what the headline says of the story from Pauline Deadjaw. Who, like, why are we even listening to this lady? The headlines, I've never even heard of her before. Paulina Deadjaw. Panthers Matt Rhule wanted to trade down an NFL draft, overruled with Derrick Brown pick report. That means it sounds like, to me, the way that they're framed, I just don't believe that this was something like, hey, I don't want to do this. I think we should trade down. And Hurney's like, no, this is the right move. It was probably like something like, hey, do you guys think that we have so many holes we should trade down if the opportunity comes about? And then Marty Hurney's like, yeah, kind of, except for Derrick Brown is for, like, So you probably have one guy that wanted to lean maybe a bit more towards Derrick Brown, maybe. But it doesn't – I just don't believe there's like this dissension. And like they weren't on the same page during this. And if they weren't, then I got a problem with Matt Rhule because I want him to have bigger balls.
Well, the part of it that I think that I agree with you on, Tony, is I think it was a conversation like that, right? I don't think it was, I want this, and then Marty Hurney said,
he just put the pick in. Sorry, pick's been made.
It wasn't like the, sit down rookie type of situation, right?
Right.
It was clearly going to be a conversation, and it was civil. And Matt Rhule, being logical human being that I would say that he is, makes the decision to, hey, let's listen to the GM who has actually hit pretty much on every first round draft pick he's ever had, right? So let's listen to that guy.
I think we're also a little bit swayed, Cody, by the analytics Twitter that wants to promise us that we could have had something so much better than we did. And look, the Boo Birds are out. They came right after they congratulated every fucking pick that Hurney made in this draft. Then they come out and then they start chastising fans for being Marty Hurney stans, right? After they went and just held homeboy Jeremy Chin's balls, right, and teabagged him. They then go, oh, well, you guys have all this faith in with Marty Hurney. No, it's really the whole thing with Marty Hurney has never been his ability to really manage a team. It's been his ability to manage the team with an owner who has had a lot of influence on him, right?
But I feel like now there are a lot of Marty Hurney defenders because they're saying, hey, man, look at this draft.
But there should be. Look, I mean, all right.
Right, but then hold on. Then on the other end of that, though, there are people saying, "Oh, Marty Hurney did a good job, but I don't think he's really in control of things." So then, which one is it? Like, is this his draft or is it not his draft?
It seems to me, look, is that this draft seems different than Hurney's past drafts, right?
Yeah.
And so I think
said that too in the chat.
I think they kind of tuned in to this. Is that I think we see Matt Rhule's affinity for certain types of players and certain types of things.
Absolutely.
I think that this is where I think that the Hurney haters don't give him enough credit for. Is that Hurney has been pretty damn adaptable throughout his career. Right? He's dealt with fucking Jerry Richardson and the Jeans Friday shit. He dealt with having the hometown hero, or Jake Delhomme, the hero, having Steve Smith. He kept Steve Smith happy. He should give lots of credit for that. But he kind of, it's like he had some good moments, and then he had some not so good moments, and it seemed like JR had some influence on that. He gets fired. He then goes into local radio, hangs around, and is very gracious the whole time to the new staff, is not overly critical. And he's really, I felt like, come in, and even when we thought that his job was temporary and we thought that he was going to get jittery and try to make some moves to keep people happy and to show his value, I think he's kind of been steady the ship. I think the problem has been is Marty Hurney has been with guys like Ron Rivera who wanted older players, and he went and got those guys. After every offseason since Marty Hurney has come back, we have nothing but said good things about him. We have, and until the season starts, that's when we start talking shit about it. Yeah. But overall, like right now, what he did for Ron Rivera, he went and did what these guys needed to do. A lot of times they just couldn't get their shit together. All right, let's break it down. All right, let's break it down then. Is that where has Hurney really failed since his return? Like, what has he really done that has been the root cause of the Panthers' problems?
All right, so this is just going to make me sound like, oh, his coach is just being a fuddy dud. Like, you're going to say I sound like those
If you say he cut Harrison Butker, I'm going to come across that damn screen.
Hey, come at me, bro. I'd rather have Harrison Butker than
I would too. I fucking hate Graham Gano, but come on.
That's not what I was gonna say though. What I was gonna say is that okay, like if we're looking at this objectively, right? What was the main criticism of Marty Hurney the first time around? He paid D'Angelo Williams, then he paid Jonathan Stewart. Okay, he paid big money to 2 running backs. Okay, what did he just do? He just paid a running back the highest money in the NFL.
But hey, Christian McCaffrey is far better than either of those players ever were, and he didn't double down and pay Bonifant too.
Yeah, well, there'd be no reason to pay Bonifant, but I'm naming these out, man.
All right,
you asked me what you could say against him. And
hold on, pause. First piece of evidence introduced by the defense or by the prosecutor, guys, is Christian McCaffrey is paid contract. All right, carry on, Mr. Attorney Cody Lashney.
So I also raised that in this draft, not one offensive lineman, which, hey, I think we had a good draft, but I don't know. And Tony and I were having this conversation before the draft. But, I mean, I really think people are going to be surprised seeing Teddy Bridgewater behind the consistency that is the New Orleans Saints offensive line and what we've seen from them and us. And we're going to roll into the season with a quarterback that we know is, has dealt with very major injuries. And, other than trading for a 31-year-old Russell Okung, you really didn't do anything to make our offensive line better. And we have a quarterback that's kind of injury prone. And I think that's legitimate.
Building the foundation for the Teddy Bridgewater.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean.
Objection, Your Honor.
Right
there was a Swiss cheese Teddy of fucking defense right there. They didn't even have enough warm bodies to fill the whole squad.
Exactly.
So, okay. So, second piece of evidence entered in by prosecutor Cody Lashney is we didn't draft an offensive lineman in this draft. Carry on.
So I think I think we have to include, well, we haven't played this season, so we have to. How long has he been here? Since 2017 or so? What or 18? It was
17. He came in the the 2 days into training, or the day before training camp in 2017.
The day before training camp. So, yeah, I mean, and then how about this? Until then, last year's draft picks after round 1 have not turned out very well. Greg Little was kind of a case that you couldn't control.
Objection, Your Honor. Dante Jackson.
No, that wasn't good at all.
Dante Jackson's been up and down. Dante Jackson,
he's been up and down, but he's been good.
He's been good, but he has also been benched. And that's just a fact.
And last year was his second year as well.
Objection, Your Honor. Josh Norman was also benched.
Okay, so I mean, how many other? Okay. What about the 2 other linebackers that we? Okay, so one.
Jermaine Carter? So you want to base this whole damn argument on Jermaine Carter? You haven't even brought up the 2 most damning pieces of evidence. I'm not giving them away, though.
I'm building. Yeah, well, listen.
All right, you saving it for last?
Hey, yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen. So we have not had a lot of draft picks pan out. He has not proven to have any success in draft picks outside of the first round. I mean, he's had some hit and miss type of players. But to this point, we haven't had a lot of success outside of the surefire first-round picks. And then I'm even going to be reasonable here. I don't know how much – I know what you wanted me to say, but I don't know how much that is on Hurney. And if we're going to say cutting Cam Newton, now, I mean, how much of a decision does Hurney have in that at all?
Doesn't that suggest to us that he really doesn't have a lot of influence? Shout out to Anthony. I guess this is Anthony Rochelle. Anthony, hey, you, $2. Thanks for your support. Carl Van in the house, my man, coming in strong with the $4.99 support of the show. You can call in at 252-228-5098. Do you think that the Cam Newton cut should be used against Hardy Murney?
That's what we'll start calling him.
I was about to say that's got to be the next thing.
Your Honor, he's really an imposter. His name is Hardy Murney.
That's not Marty Hurney. That's Hardy Murney.
Pollen Pones.
Pollen Pones. So, all right, you want to hold the Cam cut against him? All right, I'll give you that. Okay, so
hold on. We're blaming Hurney for the Cam cut.
That sounds like it should be on Rhule, though. I think that's the Rhule squad.
I'm not saying. So again, we're having this discussion. Oh, was this decision Rhule's idea, or was it Marty Hurney's idea?
Well, how do you hold that? Is that if you slapped your mama, how you gonna hold it against me?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not gonna hold it against one. If you slap my mama, she's gonna slap you right back.
I said if you slapped your mama.
Well, if I'm not slapping my mama anyway for a bunch of different reasons.
I know.
So, yeah. So what I'm saying is like, if we're gonna say that we don't know who's calling the shots on every single issue,
holy shit.
Wow.
Marty Hurney at least deserves some of that blame.
Cody, open up the Google chat. Open up the damn.
That's Den Mama. That's
the Den Mama is taking care of her cubs during this quarantine. Thank you so much, Susan. Coming in with the biggest donation the show's ever seen, $49.99. Holy cow. I'm blushing.
A baller.
Blushing.
That's awesome.
Blushing.
It was that bumper.
Yep. That was the bumper. It's working. So, okay. All right. Do you rest your case yet?
No, one more thing.
All right. Let's hear it.
And this is, it's not fair, but I pose this as evidence. He has the dumbest face out of all the GMs. Out of all the GM managers, that guy looks like he dips tobacco in the morning and then goes in and listens to David Tepper boss him around, and then he makes football decisions. But now I rest my case.
Can I ask you, Tony, before you make your 2 points that you were talking about, some of the most damning evidence against him?
Yeah.
What are they pertaining to? Draft or free agency or?
For me, is the draft is number one.
Okay.
And so I would say this is that we've been critical. What Cody said is outside of number one, like a Brian Burns or a DJ Moore, really hasn't gotten much out of the draft. And I think that is a fair argument, right? Is that I still want I'm not giving up on Little. Like, I think there's still opportunity there. I think there's value with Dennis Daly. I think in a year or two we might be rethinking some of these picks. But there are these two damning picks that have really screwed us, right? And number one is Will Grier, and that kind of a waste of space that's become. It really was a directionless pick to me. That's what it felt like, a directionless pick. And then the other is Rashawn Golden, I think, is a stain on his resume. As, we tried to, we know that there's these problems at safety and stuff. But I think that there's a lot of free agency things that we could talk about that he's done pretty well. And I don't think I don't think signing Chris McCaffrey should even be allowed into evidence, Your Honor.
Well, let me ask you, I don't even know. I'm going to try to look this up real quick. If we didn't draft Will Grier, who else was available right then?
Probably some awesome-ass safety that we missed.
And no.
Let me know, because I'm not sure.
I saw another piece of evidence because Greg reminded me of it. We took Will Grier over Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who was a damn good
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson
last year. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who was a damn good safety for the Saints last year, and who
let me look him up real quick.
And he was one of the PFFs. I mean, for whatever you think of them, he was one of the top.
All right, so that is a bust. That's a bust, right? Will Grier is a total bust.
For sure.
I give you that.
And he made that pick.
Well, let me ask you this. You guys say that he's a total bust, right? But we also remember that he was playing behind a very bad offensive line, having to play catch up because our defense couldn't stop anybody.
And he really didn't play, to be honest.
And we were playing for a first-time offensive coordinator, at that last part of the season. So can we really say that he's a bust? He hasn't really had the opportunity to do anything beyond that.
It's not that he is an absolute bust, but if we're talking about Marty's decision makings, I think that you have to be able to use that against him. Yeah. Because it was a player that I felt at the time, and if you remember, I said this after last year's draft, I felt like there was an insurance policy if Cam Newton got hurt. Well, Cam Newton did get hurt, and that insurance policy was not there to be had. And I still maintain that was the plan. So their own plan didn't come to fruition.
Does the prosecution rest? Does the prosecution rest?
The prosecution rest.
Gardner Johnson, 38 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. Not like, not like blow your mind numbers.
You're not seeing when those plays are coming.
Oh, that's true.
There's more to it than stats. I'll give you that. There's more to it than stats.
Chauncey Gardner Johnson. What's his name again?
Yeah, Chauncey.
You got it. Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
Chauncey Gardner Johnson. I feel like it's. Oh, all right. Prosecution rests his case. Can the defense take the floor now, please?
If you want to.
All right. Number one.
If you have to.
I appeal to the jury. I appeal to the jury. Remember that the burden of proof lies on the prosecution, right? And that, in this case, is not the defense's job to show that Marty Hurney is a great GM. It's not the defense's job to prove to you that Marty Hurney is the best GM the Panthers could have. No, our job is to show that Marty Hurney has been a capable GM who has fulfilled his responsibilities of what was necessary in a very difficult situation. The GM, folks, remember, jurors, the GM's job is to give coaches the tools that they want and they need to execute their game plan. In 2017, the Carolina Panthers defense, even though Marty Hurney made his best efforts to bolster it with players that Ron Rivera would like, was a shit show. So, in a complete revamp, and we don't know if this was on the players and the staff as much as it was on the coaching staff, because Eric Washington is demoted and Ron Rivera takes over. In the offseason, Ron Rivera decides to implement a complete overhaul of the defense, and it is Marty Hurney that goes and executes that for him, getting the players that Ron Rivera thought that would fit that style of defense. Marty Hurney didn't fight it. He went and drafted Brian Burns. He went and got Christian Miller. He added, not Dontari Poe. Who's the other guy that just left?
Gerald McCoy.
Gerald McCoy. Right? And he's able to navigate these things. And what we see here, and added Eric Reed too in a midseason of 2017 when that defense was sorely lacking. So that
was when safeties were going for an outrageous price,
yes,
as well, and we got a discount on them.
And not to mention that Marty Hurney has been reflexive and he's been able to be nimble and quick in his tenure, his return, Marty 2.0, is that his top prospect in free agency in 2017 was lauded as a great pick. His name was, or a great addition, and that was Bashaud Breeland. Bashaud Breeland then got an infected foot, could not pass medicals, and it derailed the Panthers' free agency season immediately. Somehow he was able to scramble together and get Dontari Poe in a move that does not look like it was all that great, you know, in retrospect, but was necessary in so many ways. So to you guys, as I would say, is that Marty Hurney has not been great, maybe average, but he's not been bad.
Not been bad.
I agree. I agree with that, because I will say that we always praise him at the height of off season. In most cases, I can't recall a time where I have been upset in the middle of off season with Hurney. I remember this time last year we were saying the tagline "Miso Hurney."
Yeah,
right. That was on our list. That's something that we were doing because we were so thrilled with the moves that he was making, the effort that he was, the fact that we went in with a very bad cap situation and we were able to pull out the players that we did. On paper, we should have been an incredible team last year.
again,
And
the
it's
problem
what
there-
Rivera seemingly the type of guys he wanted too.
Yeah.
I do think here's one other. If there is one thing that hasn't been mentioned that probably is a negative that could be applied to Hurney, is that when he did take over for Dave Gettleman and he was Jerry Richardson's lackey, I saw one guy on Twitter say that he was extorted by Greg Olson and Thomas Davis. So if you feel that, is that if he's been extorted by players that are kind of fan friendly, then you could say, but I don't even think they like really undermined our cap so much that was that problematic. I don't remember going like, oh my God, Greg Olson's contract is fucking the real reason that this team sucks.
Right, but that's the point, because Marty Hurney is going to pay the favorite players that the fans have. And, hey, fans love that because that means our favorite players get to say, and we get to see them play as a Carolina Panther. But my problem is I don't see Marty Hurney as the kind of talent evaluator that evolves with the times. And, again, this draft was good.
But he's been nothing but nimble, though. I mean, like, I don't think you even see a pattern in his drafts anymore.
Well, I mean, again, he's been, you said it yourself, he's been nothing but average. I mean, and that's that. And my whole thing was this. Yeah, maybe he's not the worst GM. Maybe you could do a whole lot worse than Marty. But my point was, at a point in time where you are wiping the organization clean and starting over from scratch, what was the point in keeping only an average general manager? I mean, that's always been my.
What
my
about this? Point. Is that here's the reason, and I've been saying this for weeks now on the show. Is that he's the Jack Ruby, man? Is that, do you want? Imagine if we would have brought in a brand new GM. Guess what? The team still would have been trash, right? I mean, you're not gonna be able to fix it that quick. So guess what? Is all we would have heard, it would have just been all the negativity would have been on that GM and Matt Rhule as we suffer through this season potentially. But now, if we start out 0-6, guess what? We just announced that Marty Hurney's fired, and we've already been in the works for something. We know the direction we're going, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't feel like, is that this is actually probably a good time for him to be here. Because when we get in this, if we go 2-14 next year, you're going to need any out other than Matt Rhule, because it's going to, even the most ardent supporters of Matt Rhule and David Tepper will get fatigued in a 2-14 season.
In the first season, you think they will?
Yes, I think everybody. Look, all right, because let's go on now and let's continue the conversation by moving into this. What's this story that came out that you want to talk about the rosters?
Yeah, so Steven Ruiz of USA Today put out an article ranking all NFL rosters from 32 to number 1. 32 being the worst, number 1 being the best, obviously. And he has the Carolina Panthers sitting in the basement at 30, at number
Who's the
30
worst
on the list. No, the worst is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then in between us is the Washington Redskins. So, and I mean, if you want to hear his reasoning, Steven Ruiz goes on to say, I don't know if this team is attempting to start over or just rebuilding things on the fly. Either way, this is not a talented roster. The defense was amongst the worst in the league and lost some major pieces, including Luke Kuechly.
Okay.
The offense was even worse, but there is more hope for improvement there with Teddy Bridgewater replacing Kyle Allen. Bridgewater had a limited season, though his conservative style isn't going to work with opposing offenses putting up 25 points every week. So essentially, he's saying our offense isn't going to be able to go blow for blow with all of the other talented football teams that we're set to play, especially in our own division. And I wanted to hear everyone's opinion on this because he has us pretty low, and that kind of spits in the face of what many Panther fans are feeling right now. A lot of people in the chat room feel that we have a good football team and that we might be a contender. Greg said that we might be good for 10 wins.
Yeah.
All right. That's what you said before.
No, listen,
So-
no. Okay, you ahead. I want to clarify that. Good.
Yeah, no, and I did say it might be.
Yeah, there's a
good
lot of
for 10
clarification
wins.
that can't be made on that because it's not going to happen.
But yeah, I mean, no, that's it. I just want to know if everyone thinks that that's about right or wrong. Like, are we one of the worst rosters in the NFL right now? And that's hard to say because
It is.
have every roster in front of us.
Again, I think it's so tough because, one of the things that we, at least a good portion of us, will agree with is coaching is such a big part of this, right? It's not all about the type of talent. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that will prove that. It's not about how many incredible players you have. It's about whether or not you can actually coach these players up. So, I mean, there's too many unproven players in this environment right now. So I think we just kind of have to play it by ear at this point, and saying anything other than we don't know is just, I just can't really have faith in anything beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. Okay, so last week I was talking total statistics here with this when I was talking about the Panthers, and this is what I based that on. Okay, last year we won what, 5 games?
Yes.
Right. Okay, we won 5 games last year with Kyle Allen as our quarterback, a worse left guard than we have right now, a wide
Left
receiver
tackle,
core
yeah.
that's not as good. Huh?
Tackle.
I thought. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, better wide receiver core this year.
Yep.
Okay, so we had a worse wide receiver core. We won 5 games. Okay. I also went back and looked at that, and 8 games were within a touchdown. Okay, or within 1 score, and 6 of them would have been won if we'd have stopped 1 touchdown. We shored up our defense. I think actually weren't like 3 of our first 6 games or 2 of our first 6 games. Didn't we lose them on the last play of the game? So
We lost the
think about
first
it,
game to the Rams, and we were ahead, and then I feel like they came back in the second half when Todd Gurley
we
just
were
ran off.
screwed with
ball
that.
in the last play
We
of the
were
game.
screwed in that one.
The Rams,
Right.
Tampa Bay, the Packers.
The Packers. Yeah, so that's 3 games right there, last play of the game. So that gives us 8 wins. So that's 3 more wins. That's 8 wins right there. If you have your defense hold 3 games of 6 less points, you're a 9-10 win team. And we have, on paper, a better defense than
We were
did last year. That was the only
well. I don't
reason
know if I
did
would
that.
say we have a better defense on paper. We don't. We have a young defense now, but here is the deal:
Okay.
is last
Yeah, there
year
you go.
it doesn't even matter what we were on paper last year because the real paper was this: is we were the 29th team in defense against the run. So it wasn't like we were. That what I would say is that this story to me. But finish your point, Greg. Is that I do think. Look, is that we weren't atrocious last year, even though we were better than we should have been last year with some of the offense that we had. The defense was really the Achilles heel and was not able to help our offense at all.
Yeah. Well, and my point kind of was like that could have happened to us last year, and I think that we're putting a better team on the field this year than we were last year. So there's no reason to say that if things fall your way. Now, if that were to happen, I don't feel like we're a team deserving of that. We'd be one of those teams limping into the playoffs or backing into the playoffs that don't deserve to be there, and I don't want that because it can happen. I mean, a lot of football is luck. Like I said, 3 plays into the last play or 3 games, last play of the game. That goes the other way. We're 8-win team last year, right off the bat. So, I mean, things could change. Is all I'm saying, and I don't think it's going to happen because I personally think we're tanking next year.
I think the
But-
story is fair, Cody.
Good.
The story is fair, right?
Yeah.
Is that I don't know if we have the worst or one of the worst. I mean, obviously we don't have one of the best rosters, right? We would, is that if anything, we picked higher in the lower in the draft than we should have, or higher in the draft, whatever it is. We really deserve to be like a 4th pick with the team we had last year, right? And we
Yeah.
kind of got screwed by being 7.
The Redskins beat us.
Was that 4-win streak?
The Redskins beat us, and they had the number 2 pick in the draft.
Right. So, but here is that, like, I don't think we have a good team, But I don't know if it's as bad as they're going to make it out. As I think that this argument right here rests on one thing, is that we don't have any defensive names right now to really feel comfortable about. But like losing Luke Kuechly, yes, that's always going to be a giant hole to fill. But at the same time, Luke Kuechly you could see that things weren't working well last year. So, yeah, that's going to be a regression there. I don't know if our defensive line is that while they racked up some sacks last year, are we really going to miss Mario Addison that much? I hope that Brian Burns can be a player out there. So, no, if we judge this team's roster by the defense, it's completely unknown. The good news about the defense is there's room for growth because we got young. On the offense, though, I don't think you should shit on the roster, but so much. We have the best running back in football. We have a capable wide receiver core, like Greg said, is that, in fact, arguably the best wide receiver core we've had
in a
long time, yeah. And I don't even think that that's even great to say because a lot of those guys are unproven, in my opinion. I'm not, sold that Curtis Samuel is the next greatest thing anymore. I think DJ Moore's good, and I hope Robbie Anderson works in this system. But I don't think we're going to be like dominant as a wide receiver core, but it's better than we're kind of accustomed to. And I'd say the offensive line is actually in better shape than we're used to. I mean, here, we just don't have the name Cam to look to anymore. We don't got Luke to look to anymore. And don't act like losing Bradbury is going to derail this team. Bradbury was he was good, and he was available. But, man, I don't know if you guys remember that Pittsburgh game where our 2018 season shit the bed. Juju Schuster's 95-yard touchdown or whatever. That was on Bradbury falling down. You want to go look up Angry Billy Marshall and his tweets? He had a series of tweets that said, look, the Rams ran 3 times at Bradbury last year in that loss. So I don't think we got that. We're much worse. How about that? Is if anything, we're kind of where we were with the opportunity to grow into the following season. So I don't think it's unfair. I mean, it kind of sucks that the Redskins have a better roster than us, but they do have a pretty solid defensive front, now a defensive – and we got a new coach. Who knows? Who fucking knows?
We have a brand new coach. We have a brand new offensive coordinator. We have a brand new defensive coordinator. Everything about this team is brand new. There's a lot of young players. So, I mean, and this is why it's so weird. And listen, we have to continue to be transparent about this. At the end of another really bad season for the Carolina Panthers, potentially lies a jackpot and a franchise rejuvenating quarterback. And by the way, I'm not just talking about Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people are really high on Justin Fields too. A lot of people even prefer him. So if having another kind of weird season that just goes into pits lands us one of those people or one of those players, then it's hard to be like, oh, I hate that this team sucks so bad or that the roster isn't good right now, because that might be the best thing for us. But, I mean, I don't know. None of us are pulling, but we want the Panthers to be a good football team. But you're not being a bad fan to look at this roster and say, yeah, I could easily see how this team is a bottom-of-the-barrel football team in 2020.
Sure. And I think it would be foolish to not think that, right? I think that is that's what it's supposed to be. I think the good news about the way the Panthers are doing it is that I think that they're going to be competitive enough to keep us entertained.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? That's where I think is that when they put that offense together, they're like, hey, guys, this ain't going to be Rome won't built in a day. Right, this is going to be something. And then when you decide to move on from Cam, you have really redone it now, right? You're going back to kind of square one. Imagine if the offense was putting up 3 points like it did in 2010, and you're giving up 40. At least, we'll go out there and, we might lose 27-17, but we'll score some points. You got Christian McCaffrey. Who knows? I mean, and according to you guys, Joe Brady is such a genius that's going to have a head coach job in a couple of years. How can you not be more optimistic about this team than you have been in past years when it comes to the offense? Except for, hey, we miss Cam.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about what you were just saying there about, the team. It sounds like you're almost accepting mediocrity type deal.
I'm actually accepting bad. Saying. Like, I just recognize this is that, like, you get a divorce, things are going to suck for a little while, but life is going to be better soon in the future. Okay, I'm just realistic that we're not going to be. I don't expect the Panthers to win more than 4 games, and if we do, I think that it's going to be a pleasant surprise that comes with the idea that, damn, we still don't get Trevor Lawrence.
So if we win 7 games next year, that's gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, I was. If we win 7 games, we double our win total of what I expect us to win. So yeah, I would say that's a good thing.
Where does that put us for the future, though?
Yeah, am I the only one that feels like a 8-8 or a 7-9 season?
It's worse. Is a total loss because we could have achieved that last year.
Yeah.
Well, I think it doesn't give you the losing bug. One thing is that
it also gives you no leg up to move forward.
Okay, but I also think it gives the coaching staff a little bit of confidence that they can do it in the pro game. Is that if they go out there and these guys who have no experience in the NFL go and shit the bed, and it's a terrible ass season. Yeah, you get the number 1 draft pick, but. Are you conjuring more belief in yourself? Are you becoming more confident in your ability in the meantime? Are you continuing to get guys to buy into your message, which continues to be Matt Rhule's thing? It's like we're gonna rah buy in team, and we're gonna get through this. That's hard to do in fucking a 2-14 team. So winning helps, and I don't care if we win 7 games. I think it's better for the team than us winning 2 games.
What if you go into the season with that approach with everybody as far as we're rebuilding and we're not trying to win a lot of games? Dude, I mean, I don't know. I get what you're saying.
Then I don't want to pay for then they then they should close the season down. If that's the fucking way that they're going to even be that transparent that they're fucking bitches.
No one tanks that way. No one says, "Hey
that's
guys,
my point.
We're going to lose this season."
I think we're going to win. We're going to lose. I think that we don't get to 7. If we get to 7, are you asked, will you be surprised if we get 7 wins next year? Cuz I'll be fucking floored.
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
What?
I mean,
we play in a division that's got the Saints, that has a Tampa Bay team that's going to go crazy, and the Atlanta Falcons are just better than us right now. I mean, like, come on.
I'm convincing people. I'm bringing people over to my side. I gave you all those stats about last year and what we got,
Bullshit.
And you're like, wait a second.
Bullshit.
Wait a second. This does make sense. FSU got sorry.
Wins.
Let me find it in here. Here we go. FSU or Panthers got FSU 23. He kind of agrees with me. He says Panthers are going to have a winning season next year. I don't know about that.
All right, put money on it then.
I think we're tanking, but
the over/under is 5.5. Put money on it then. I'll put money on it. I'll put 10 on it. Over. Panthers, I say under.
You're taking the under?
Yeah.
You'll put 10 on it? I'll put 10.
Oh, I thought we could have a winning record. I just gave you 2 games because I said 7 is ridiculous.
Listen, I said it's possible. I didn't say I thought it was likely or that I thought they were going to do that, but the possibility is there. But you know what? Just for fun, I'll take you on that. I'll take the.
If I pay you this,
can I just take 5? You're taking the under.
We're doing 10. So that means is this: if we win 6 games, you win. 6 or more, you win. If we have 5 or less wins, I win.
I thought it was 5.5 though, so wouldn't they go?
That's right. And so I got to come in on the under.
If they win 5, I win. Yeah, you got to come in on the under.
No,
yeah.
I'm taking the under. You're taking the over.
Okay,
to cover, you got to get the 6.
Okay, I'll do it. Oh,
You're damn right.
Yeah,
and I will pay. I will happily. If I lose this bet, I will happily pay you $10. That would be the most pleasant thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man.
I'll do it.
like I just you know,
Convince Cody.
I would be so. I mean, listen, I would be so disappointed, man, if we were 7 or 8 wins next season, and it's just because
this makes no fucking sense. You would be okay with us winning two games, but you would be disappointed with us winning 7 games.
I'm saying I either want 13 or 14 wins, or I want 2. I'm saying I don't want. I'm done. I'm done with this in the middle bullshit of hey, the Panthers are one of the best defensive teams in football and their offense is rolling, or we're just this inconsistent dumpster fire that can't get their fingers out of the butt. Like, I'm tired of either of those. Or I mean, I want it to be a winning football team where we blow everyone's expectations away and let Panthers God is saying in the chat, Teddy Bridgewater blows it out and puts up all these crazy numbers. I want that to happen. Or I want the polar opposite to happen, because I don't think that Matt Rhule needs to have a mediocre season. I mean, look, Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers had the 2nd pick in the draft, and then the next year they were in the Super Bowl.
Do you consider 6 and 10 middle of the pack?
Yeah, you're a who cares team.
6 and 10 is a I guess top 10 draft pick in my opinion.
I don't think we've been so middle of the pack as you guys make it out to be. In 2010 we were 2 and 14. In 2011 we were 6 and 10. 2012 we were 7 and 9. But then we hit a 12-win season. Then we went back to middle of the pack, 7-8-1. Then we hit 15. But then back to the bottom was 6 in 2016, 11 in 2017. 2018 was 7 and 9. That one middle of the pack. But 5 and 11 is bad. I don't think that's middle.
You only named 3 seasons that were 10 wins or more.
Yes.
Yeah, but I also only named 3 seasons that were middle of the pack. There were 2. I would classify 6 and 10, and I would classify 6 and 10 as bad.
I would too.
Yeah.
I don't think that's middle. So I would say we've been a third good, a third in the middle, and a third at the bottom, the top of the bottom.
Too much inconsistency. And if you're going with consistent,
we've got to. If we were consistent, we wouldn't have a new coach. We wouldn't have a new quarterback. Well, no shit.
Right. Well, all right. So in order to have, so this is what I'm saying. There's no better year if you're going to have an untalented roster. There's no better year to do it than the one coming up.
Because then we should hope this article is right then.
Yeah, if you want stability and if you want consistency, either you want to know after this year that Teddy Bridgewater is everything in a bag of chips, everything that we want him to be from the quarterback position. Either he is going to be that, or you want a consistent starting quarterback, in which case you have to draft one. And, that's why I'm saying this is a good year to be bad. And David Tepper has already said we're not going to completely turn this thing around in 1 year's time. Matt Rhule and Joe Brady and Phil Snow are not going anywhere next year. Even if we go 0-16, none of those guys are being fired after next year. So
good. That's what I'm saying. I'm all right with us being bad. But I will not be upset if we're not bad. That's my point.
Yeah,
I am not going to come in here and be like, we won a game this past week, a meaningless win. I'm not going to come and say that. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be crying how shitty we are and how much $10 Greg owes me. That's what I'm going to be crying about.
Look, I think I agree with you, Tony. In the moment, I won't be upset. I love it because I want to see winning football. But after the season's over and we have that 13th pick that does really nothing for us, that we really need, or 17th pick, wherever in the draft, then I'll be a little more upset.
If we don't get a top 2 pick, do you feel is that like the only thing that will make y'all happy? Is a top 2 pick?
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Or a Super Bowl. Dude, that's what I'm saying earlier.
CK, please bring some reason to this conversation, please. He's not even there, is he?
I mean, I don't know what to say. Yeah.
I mean, the part of it so here's the thing, right, Greg? I don't know if you guys or Cody even
are intending on going to any games next year. I know it's going to be looking a lot different based on what the Miami Dolphins are proposing, but I mean, to hope for a lost season makes it not exciting to have the prospect of watching these games anymore, right? I mean, I would be excited to have the wins. I agree that it's going to feel like it's going to be a waste of our, all of our time if we end up finding ourselves in a situation where we're competitive, but not that competitive. So, there is a value to both sides of the argument, but at the same time, I want to go to the Panthers games next year. And if I know that we're not going to be winning, anything, then it's going to make that a lot harder for me to be able to make that decision to go. I mean, 3.5 hour drive to watch my Panthers get slaughtered is not something I would find enjoyable.
I don't need them to look. I don't even need them to win to be happy, though. What I
be
want,
competitive.
I
Let
want
me actually
the
feel like I
team
have
to
something
look.
cheer for.
This is what I need next year, guys. Is I will be upset like you guys are upset about whatever, about not getting the top pick. You know what's going to make me that angry is that if we don't look like like we belong.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where you turn on the television and you go, this team is a fucking mess. And you look at the side, and I'm not talking about the Panthers, is that usually, I would argue actually a lot of times that we weren't as prepared as we could have been. But somehow we still played all right because of Cam Newton a lot of times. But I want next year to build confidence in that we've made the right decisions. That's what I want this year to be. Is I don't need wins to do that. What I need Matt Rhule is to show me that the team can get better from week to week. I want to see this Snow guy show that he can coach these kids up and that we have belief that they're getting better and they're believing in themselves more and more to each week. Because I tell you one thing is you guys hate the draft class today or whatever, Marty Hurney drafts. But you know what we really we hate a player when they lose confidence in themselves. And we've seen it happen to numerous amounts of players. And I don't want to see that beaten look in the Panthers' eyes. I think it seeps in. It's like a sickness that infiltrates the organization. And then when you think about it like this, I mean, the fucking Bengals haven't been to the playoffs in like 30 years, dude, or won a playoff game.
Haven't won a playoff game.
Yeah, haven't won a playoff game. Like, I don't want to be a broken franchise. Wow, all the draft people and this asshole, whoever wrote this story, what was his name again? Ruiz. While they're going to glow over the Dolphins, whatever. While you're going to glow over the Dolphins, I have zero belief that the Dolphins are going to be good until they are. And they've been a broken franchise. The Jets, I don't believe in the Jets. I don't want the Panthers to become a team like that.
Yeah, I mean, who does?
But honestly, Tony,
2 and 14 seasons. Here's the thing: is that the only reason we're not one of those teams is because Cam Newton set off an era, right? Is that so? I don't know if it's just going to be hard. Think about Panther Nation, and we talk about the small market. We think of the fans that don't cheer very loud at the stadium and all of that. How's that fan base going to endure 3 or 4 seasons where you can't even get to 5 wins? Oh my God!
But you're arguing 2 different points right here. Is you're saying you don't want to be a team that the fans aren't interested in because you're not going there to win. But then you also say that if you get 7 or 8 wins, which you know is going to screw the team in the future, it would make you happy.
Well, we don't know that.
Wait, that is actually very consistent. I don't want us to be a bad team that's broken, and I would be
mediocrity though if you want 7 wins. That's what you're doing. You're accepting mediocrity.
Yeah.
If you're happy with 7 wins next year, we could have gotten 7 wins with Kyle Allen. We damn sure could have gotten with Cam Newton next year. But I mean, so 7 wins next year shows no progression.
Who in the world thinks that we could get 7 wins with Kyle Allen? The reason we didn't get 7 wins was because of Kyle Allen.
Actually, we had 3 games that ended on the last play of the game. We could have had 8 wins with Kyle Allen.
Half of Panthers fan base was capping for Kyle Allen like crazy. I
Was
mean,
this guy?
Yeah.
Was this guy?
Possible, don't they?
And by the way, can I just say one more thing? There's another part of me that wants the Panthers to be bad next season for a very petty bitch reason. But I'll admit it openly. And it's because I don't want the first season after we get rid of the best player that the Panthers have ever had. As soon as we get rid of him, all of a sudden now with this fantastic football team, how many terrible takes are we going to have of revisionist history of, Teddy Bridgewater? Teddy Bridgewater's always been better than Cam Newton. This goes to show and goes to prove that Cam was never accurate enough to operate the Panthers effectively and hit all the passes that he needs to hit, which is all bullshit, dude. And like, there's I think the Panthers, if I think they should suffer a little bit for that, and we should suffer because we want a long-term answer.
If the Panthers find a way to win 7 games next year with this roster the way it is, what will be the storyline at the end of the season going into 2021? What's the headline?
That's a good question.
If we win 7 games, if we put together a 7-win season, and I got to pay Greg because we get the 7, what is the headline at the end of the week 17? The Panthers have not made the playoffs with 7 wins, right? The season's over for us. What's the headline, the narrative for that 7-9 team?
Moving laterally.
Is it? That's a good one. Say it again.
Moving laterally.
You actually not 2 games up, so you actually did go up the ladder 1 rung.
So you know how,
but I like that, moving laterally, more the same is what you were. All right.
I mean, I don't know the exact headline, but you know how Greg gets pissed off at the coach speak. All of the the normal things that you hear every single coach says. Well, but all the headlines are going to be Matt Rhule shows promise in first season as Carolina Panthers head coach. Like, everyone's going to be trying to find the bright side of
dude. If you scratched off a lottery ticket and you thought you were going to win $5 and you won $55, wouldn't you be excited about the future?
Yeah, but that's not a good comparison because we're talking about
not at all.
All right,
CK,
what's your headline? What's your narrative then at the end of the season?
If we go 7 wins next year, it is Panthers get a little better.
Wow.
I don't know.
You guys, man, I feel like I am Mr.
Let's be honest. I mean, nobody's going to be praising the Panthers if we go 7-10.
Yes, we will. We'll be like, holy shit, how did we do this?
From a standpoint of media attention, right? When you look at the 7 wins that we'll probably get, they're not going to be against playoff contenders. Like, if you look at that roster, the people that you would say we have a capability of winning 7 games against, not a single one of them are going to be people that you expect to be in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's one part of it. And then the second part is, who in the media is going to be writing an article saying that, the Panthers are actually making positive strides. Instead, they're going to say another year off Christian McCaffrey's career wasted on the Panthers. 7-10 mundane season. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a matter of, it's going to be who's out the door next. Who is Matt Rhule on the hot seat all after one season? That's what the articles are going to look like.
All right.
That's true. There probably will be a hot
Well,
seat.
no, I'm telling you didn't answer your own question.
Oh,
What
I'm
the
waiting. I'm
headline-
waiting patiently.
Well, hey, you're batter up.
All right. Headline, something to this effect. Team buys into Matt's rules and whiz kid sidekick. Up and coming offense or something. Right? Because here's the thing. If we do this, is that if we won 7 games, I would say this right away. I would say right away that ends the conversation if Matt Rhule can be a pro coach. There is a question mark right now if Matt Rhule's stuff is going to translate to the NFL. If you won 7 games, you would with this team, you'd be like, all right, he can do it. Number 2, if we do it, we're going to do it with our offense and a young defense. So I would say this is we would be nothing but optimistic about the defense going into 2021 as getting better. And we would still be sitting here going, Joe Brady is just waiting for his moment. He's going to be the next fucking best shot caller ever. The guys that you guys are praising, have been praising, or we're going to have optimism for the future. But at the end of the season, we win 2 games. The narrative's going to be like this. Panthers get their draft pick, but questions loom about GM, coach, and if Wiz Kid is really a whiz.
Okay, well, so 7-9 next year. Okay, you're positive about that. We go 8-7 the year. Wait, what's wrong? Yeah,
we're not winning 7. That's the point. Though.
8-8.
But Tony, what would you rather? Would you rather the season that shows some promise?
Yes.
Or would you rather the dumpster fire? I just don't see that. I don't see how having some
because I would be so stunned. I would be so stunned.
So stunned by what?
That we could pull off 7 wins. I think we are going to be a dumpster fire. I don't think it's going to be a rather or this or that. I think that we're talking about the difference if we win 4 or 2.
But you would prefer Brady and Rhule show potential with Bridgewater and get 7 or 8 wins than get a quarterback of the future?
Well, one, I don't know if it's guaranteed we get a quarterback of the future. That's number 1.
But if that's what we're talking about.
But, look, as the Dolphins didn't, all right, so is that you would have to guarantee me 2 things. Like, they would have to be, one, yeah, they would have to be guaranteed that we actually get the pick and that pick works.
Yeah, but you got to be guaranteed that Teddy Bridgewater's
so I take a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. So
here's another analogy.
A broken bird in the hand.
Hey, here's another analogy. Wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first. So
that's an instruction and a metaphor more than an analogy.
What I'm saying, though, is that if you have a bad football team, like it's what I said about Kyle Shanahan. Like they were a bad team for 2 years in a row. And remember, after the Atlanta Super Bowl in that season, Kyle
Shanahan had been in a Super Bowl and had a pedigree father. Right. Matt Rhule has not done that.
Right. He had the offense. Okay, but my point being, it took him 2 years of having a top 5 pick before they turned it around and went to the Super Bowl. So
but he was an offensive coordinator in a Super Bowl. So you get to say, well, Shanahan, we know he can do this. We don't know about any of these guys. And to be honest, if this offense fucking sucks next year, I'm going to start going, I thought Joe Brady was such a fucking genius.
But Tony, you're still not going to know if you have a 7-9 season. That's not that we could very easily go 7.
I will know that Joe Brady is better than I think he's. I think is that we won't know shit if we're 2-14 either.
Yeah,
but you're right. But we'll have to pick with that at 7-9. You won't know
and then we got to draft this guy that looks like
at
a girl.
2-14, you have the pick.
Oh, here we go with the girl shit, dude. And listen, I understand that you're going to be a part of those people that I'm just going to have to put together like a super, if for whatever reason, dude, God willing, if the Panthers are in the running for Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to put out like an hour, I'm going to get CK to help me. I'm going to put out an hour-long film study showing everyone that wants to shit on Trevor Lawrence because they just want to play the contrarian. I'm going to show you why there has not been a quarterback prospect like him in the past 10 years.
Oh,
okay.
God.
Well, then why did
I'll be waiting for maybe I should take a dump in my hands while I wait for this video.
I do got to ask you, why did Burrow have a better season?
Okay. Did you realize that there has never been a team to put more, one single team to put more NFL players into the NFL after a season than LSU did this season. Almost their entire football team got
let's take that out of the equation.
That's all in theory, though. That
tell me, no. Here's
by the way, Trevor
argument
Lawrence has been better longer. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Trevor Lawrence has a consistency that Joe Burrow has never had.
Yes.
I made that same argument about Tua, and y'all called me crazy. I made the same argument about Tua, and y'all called me crazy.
It's about injuries, though.
That's about injuries. That's two different arguments that we have. We never just debated Tua being talented or being able to,
I'm a fresh in my drink.
He's going to be a great one.
I need
a great quarterback possibly. What I'm saying is that when you're talking about, if you're going to try to put that perspective into place with Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, if you look at the history of him, he's only got 2 seasons. He's literally coming into his junior year. He's only played 2 seasons, his freshman and his sophomore year. He came in and he dethroned the starting quarterback and just basically threw him out of town, right?
Yeah.
After the starting quarterback had taken them to the national championship the year before.
He's only lost one game.
And that was against LSU.
Yeah, and by the way, he wasn't even bad in that game. LSU's defense just turned it on, and their quarterback and offense and receivers made a bunch of incredible plays. But yeah, was Joe Burrow better in that game? Sure. But there have been games where Aaron Rodgers wasn't the best quarterback on the field, or Tom Brady, or whoever the hell you want to put forth.
But you also mistake my question for game and season. I think Burrow had a better season last year, but I get what you're saying. That Lawrence has had a better tenure. He's been doing it for longer. If we got Trevor Lawrence, it'd be great to see your eyes. If your eyes light up every time you say Trevor Lawrence like that, and he was our quarterback, that'd be great. You would love to watch Panthers football every week.
Oh my god, dude! I pray so much for it to happen, dude. But because I want it to happen, it won't. Sorry. I'm gonna bust your bubble now. But I don't know. You never know. But I mean, I don't know. I'm of the mindset that I'm not everyone, Tony wants to make bets about, we're going to be over or under 5. I'm of the mindset that I don't know, because I can understand this team being a better football team than we even think. Like, I'm not disagreeing with Panthers God. Panthers God has a lot of faith in this team this season, and I'm not saying that he's wrong for that. I mean, we do have a wonderkin offensive coordinator who just put up an incredible season at LSU. We have an ultimate motivator at coach. We had a great defensive draft. I mean, I'm not like Tony. I would prefer to have a season that ends up in Trevor Lawrence, but I'm not going to be surprised or be floored if we're an actual good football team. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility for me.
Yes, it is.
That's why I took the bet, because it was only $10. I don't think they're going to win that many, but they have a chance, so I might as well take.
There's a chance. But there is a chance.
All right, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts at. Got lots of content coming on the way this season, because we will have nothing but to look towards the future all the time as we're quarantined up. But until then, we got a lot of calls to get to. Not a lot, but a few on a low news cycle. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what the fans got to say.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey guys, this is Cody C. from Tennessee. I was just calling. I just listened to your recent podcast. I just wanted to talk to y'all about the winning records and whatnot.
Oh, perfect time.
I really don't care if we win a lot of games next year. I just want to see see these rookies actually compete, like get some experience under their belts, and we'll see where it goes from there. I just want to see us do a really good job keeping close games. I don't care if we win them, because, we have 4 years with them rookies on their contracts. So, thank you guys. I'll be listening to y'all.
Great call, and I'm completely and 100% with you. Is that this a belief that we've got to choose between having success and failure? Is that more than likely we're not going to be a successful team when it comes to our record. So it's going to be in other areas that we are hoping to see signs of hope for the future. And I think that's what I want to see. I want this team to start off terrible and get better as the season goes on. Or I expect that. How about that? That's what I expect out of this staff.
Yeah, as I'm cruising Twitter and listening to the cat call, I see an article that says the Carolina Panthers won't be a contender, but they also won't partake in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. So again, the opinions are up and down. I mean, you have people like you that think there is no way that this is a good football team at all next year. And then there are people that are like, oh, well, they're not even going to be, they'll be too good to even draft a quarterback next year.
What makes you think that? What makes you think that we're going to be that good? Is it the offensive side of the ball? Is it Joe Brady? This is what we did forget to talk about. Is this offensive line better than what we're used to? And I would say yes.
So to the first part of your question, I have a bit of hope because smart people make smart decisions.
Like Marty Hurney?
I know that, like Joe Brady. Joe Brady makes smart. Listen, how about this? Because I feel like you've been kind of sour on Joe Brady lately. So let me run down a little bit of background. Homeboy, before the age of 30, was a coach at Penn State. Not a head coach, but he was a contributing coach at Penn State. Then he went to the New Orleans Saints and, was a part of building the offense with Teddy Bridgewater and calling certain plays and doing certain things. Then he goes to LSU and bets on himself and has one of the most incredible statistic seasons with him and his quarterback that college football has ever seen. Like, how many other 30-year-olds have that kind of pedigree? And by the way, his last name isn't the last name of a former head coach in the NFL. So it's not like a Shanahan where Kyle Shanahan's father was Mike Shanahan, so he's been around it forever. No, Joe Brady did this himself. And I'm more inclined to trust someone with that kind of trajectory.
I think I think the reason I'm not as is just ready to get down on my knees for homeboy is that I feel like you're giving him a lot of credit for being with teams that were successful, and I'm not sure that it was him that was the reason of their success. I'm not saying that he was in the way of it. I'm not even saying he's not good, but I don't think we have enough data to be as confident as you are. And if there was a person, I would say, yeah, there is. All right, so I have my guy that's the young whippersnapper genius, and that's Lincoln Riley. To me, that's the guy that I think has had even more success than Joe Brady. He's 36, so I'm sorry, he's a little old, on the old side. Right, but I think that you are just the reason I'm being reserved is like I am not shitting on him. But I haven't seen any of this yet. And I know that you guys keep pointing to the LSU season, but I'm not willing to just say that he was a fucking offensive mastermind that orchestrated this. Now he's going to have a team that's not as good, that's not dominating people all the time, that isn't playing slubs half the time with better talent. And so he's really going to have to earn his reputation. So here's the thing is, what happens if this team comes out, they go 2-14, and what if the offense averages 17 points this season? Are you going to come to me and continue to just say that Joe Brady is a genius and there's nothing to worry about?
I mean, that depends. Is Teddy Bridgewater making good decisions? making good decisions.
If we average 17 points a game, nobody's doing anything good.
But then again, so okay, me and Greg are gonna start up our player versus coach again. But you know, it's
now you're flip flopping like a fish.
No, I'm saying, listen, it takes a whole fucking football team to win a football game, and it takes a whole one to lose a football game. And the team includes the coaches and the players, and the people that draft the players.
So my question is, how do you decide what is the coach's fault and what is the player's fault when it comes to a player making an error? That's why it's impossible to blame
What will you say here?
Person.
What will the argument be about Joe Brady if we win 7 games because our offense averaged 24 points? You know what it'll be? I'll be like, holy shit, you guys were fucking right.
24 points, we win 7 games.
You were right. He took Teddy Bridgewater and that familiarity. He used these guys in multiple ways, and I'll be on board. But if we get 2 games and our offense is just mediocre at best, I'm going to say, hey, the jury's still out.
Michael Kelly in the chat says, what if? And
that's right. What you guys are doing. You guys are doing. And Michael, he said this conversation is going nowhere. Where else you got to be, Michael? Right. Really? Where you got to go to the club? You got to go to the damn bar?
You know my favorite saying, what if my aunt had nuts? Then I guess she'd be my uncle.
I love that saying. That's what I'm saying. You guys are the ifs people. You guys are the ifs. I'm not the if people.
You kind of are. You're just under a different parameter of ifs.
Right.
Well, we're talking about the future, so we have to be in ifs.
But you're saying, right. So you're saying if it goes 7-9, that shows you something to build upon. But there have been other teams that have built upon something and didn't win 7 points a game. I mean, you know, Kyle Shanahan is a great offensive coordinator, but he wasn't before he had Jimmy Garoppolo under center. I mean, who was their quarterback? Who even fucking knows? I don't remember his name. But if you don't have a winner under center, then it's all for naught. It doesn't matter if you have a great. That's what I'm saying. If we start losing bad and not putting up points, well, is our offensive line holding up? Are they giving Teddy enough time to go through his progressions and get the ball out? Or is Teddy not throwing the football well? Like, there's a lot that goes.
Well, guess who that falls on? Everybody, and Joe Brady's part of that conversation. Andy Smith says this, and this is my point right here. If we put up 30 points a game but still lose because the defense gives up more, was that a success? And I would say yes. That would instill faith in me that Joe Brady is like capable of doing this, that Matt Rhule, that they were doing with the best they could with what they had. We don't expect the defense to be good. But if the offense next year is lackluster and the defense is surprisingly better than we think it's going to be, I'm going to be I'm going to be like, this is backwards. And then if they're both bad, I'm not going to have anything but just hope that what you guys keep telling me is right.
Andy Smith laid out the dream scenario. Like, if we end up losing a bunch, but our offense still puts up a crazy number of points. Like,
that's what I've been saying. Why aren't you giving me credit for this?
Because you're not saying that it's even possible that we could be a 7-9 team. Whereas we're saying, yeah, that's entirely
all right.
possible.
This is bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on this. One, I can't win. No, I cannot win because of this. Is that you guys are upset with me because I don't want us, because I will be pleasantly surprised that if we win more than 5 games. I said I will be pleasantly surprised and I will be optimistic about the future. So you guys shit on me for that. But then now you're shitting on me for saying that I don't think we are going to do that. Come on. I think we're going to be a 3-13 team, and I hope to God that the offense gives us enough reason to watch this fucking team. If it doesn't, then it's going to be a long season, man.
What makes you happy and makes you feel confident points per game next year? What is if we have X points per game next year, but we still end up 4 and 12.
Yeah,
what
good question. I think I think if you crest that kind of 17, I feel like if you hold people to 17, you lose in the. I mean, you win in the NFL, right? Like, so if a defense is able to hold a team to 17, there's some stat like teams that average less than 19 points a game don't win or whatever. It's that number. It's like about 17 to 19 points. If we're over that, then I say, you know what, is that the offense was capable. If it's in the 24 point to 26 point range, I'm going to say, man, this offense is potent. And if they're scoring 29, 30 points a week and still losing, I will fucking say, you guys were right. I should have blown Joe Brady first, but I had to wait for him to pay the money up first.
Well, look, last year we had 21.3 points per game.
Yeah. We also had the best running back in the NFL. I mean, 2,000 yards.
But I'm asking you, you were not happy, we're not optimistic with the way we came out last year. So if we score 22 points a game,
have I shit on the offense, Greg? Have I shat on the offense at all? No. I said the whole time. I haven't shat on the offense from last year at any time. The real reason I've shat on this defense. That's what I've been shitting on. And that's why I'm not worried about Joe Brady. I mean, not Joe Brady, James Bradbury, Mario Addison. Our fucking defense was trash, man. It was the bitchiest defense I've ever seen the Panthers have. Like, I mean, wusses last year. And I hate saying that because these are grown, big-ass men that can whoop my ass. So don't give me that, well, you go out there and you play it and this and that. Well, they can come and teach my history class. All right? Well, okay. If that's the criteria, come teach my history class. But my point is this, is that arguably I'd say this, is Kyle Allen, he played admirably last year given that he sucks. Christian McCaffrey played fucking amazing, given that our offensive line was just pretty bad. So no, I'm not shitting on the offense last year, and in fact, I was a Norv Turner supporter. I still think the offense was not the problem for the years. I mean, look, if you go back to that 11-5, Cam's MVP. I mean, no, it was the next year. He's on the MVP track. So no. But that's why I'm not optimistic. No, because I don't see the here is I'm talking about trending up versus trending down. And right now, the reason at the end of last season, if you don't put in Joe Brady, if you don't put in Robbie Anderson, and you don't put in this new kind of invigorating thing, I would have not been like, oh, we've got so much to hope for in the future of the Carolina Panthers offense. I would have been like, hey, that was a pleasant surprise, but I don't see this going up. I see it staying the same or being worse.
So what I'm saying is if we average 22 points a game next year, basically the same thing we did last year, and we win 7 games, are you going to feel optimistic about the team then?
Yeah, because that's what we need to do.
Same at points
that's because that's what we need to do.
Okay. That's all I was wondering because, I mean, it's not moving
forward
up,
with guys. You guys got me fired up. Tony came out here. Good God.
Like it, man. That's the way we like it. But all I'm saying is it's not moving forward. If you score the same points per game this year as you did last year and you win more games, that's just a factor of luck or how games played out. That's not getting better. That's just luck.
I don't know. How about this? Ask that question to the other guys. What do you guys think about the offensive performance last year? Is it like, because, I mean, we put up some points at times, but we really weren't that. I mean, I don't feel like we were threatening people, period. I mean, thank God for Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. That was it. That was all we had last year. That was it.
Yeah, and it goes back to that offensive line. Like, I don't know why people, and we started to talk about this. In my opinion, one of the reasons if you ask me if I'm taking the under and the over on that 5.5, I'm taking the under. Because if I'm betting, I don't think this offensive line is better. It's just a bunch of more question marks. I don't think that you can reasonably say with a straight face that, which I mean, I'm sure you can and you will try, but this offensive line does not say that it's better to me. What about Russell Okung had a blood clot last year.
So what is a blood clot? Yeah.
Thing.
That yes, but what is that?
You had a blood clot.
My dad has had them. People are prone to them. And why do you think they fucking after you get surgery say, "Hey, you got to move around and shit," because the shit happens.
My crippled ass hasn't moved around in 30 years, and I've never had a blood clot. Does that mean I'm in better health than Russell Okung? What the hell? I don't know. I'm just saying, for a franchise left tackle.
No, I would say no. It means you're
well. I don't know. That move in and of itself did not fix our offensive line.
It didn't make it the best in the fucking world. But how about this? Is Russell Okung better? Is he better on paper and in just reality than Greg Little? Yes. He's made a fucking Pro Bowl, dude. I'm pretty sure he's made a Pro Bowl. All right. So, okay. So, all right. How about this? Is he better or worse than Matt Khalil?
Better.
Is he better or worse than Byron Bell?
You're setting the bar low here, though.
All right, you said it's not better, but Okung is an upgrade. Okay, all right. How about this? Is that is Taylor Moton? Yes, he's the same. All right, Matt Paradis. Is that really? We don't know, but it's going to be hard for him to be worse, right? But if he gets even a little bit better, we go up. But really, what have we fucking? Are we trying to say that swapping Russell Okung for Trey Turner is really that big of a drop? No. I would say this is that you add Schofield, you add the opportunity of potentially Dennis Daly in his second year, maybe playing a little guard. You got Tyler Larson, who is versatile, could play guard and center, particularly if Paradis gets hurt or is sucky. And then you've got the flexibility of if Okung does have injury problems or you're guaranteed to have one of your tackles get hurt, that now you don't just have – we went into last year saying Greg Little had to start. What kind of plan was that? What kind of plan was that? This is an upgrade. We are better on the offensive line. We are better.
You know, you're making the argument that we can win that many games right now.
No,
but by arguing
I'm
how
not
much
saying
better
that.
we are.
I'm just saying that the offensive line has incrementally gotten better.
Yep.
I would say it's
and
incremental.
Christian McCaffrey got 1,000 last year playing behind a better offensive line this year. What do you think he's going to do? Just saying.
Not well.
He can do it.
Here, Christian McCaffrey was magical.
He gets in the end zone. We win those 2 games if we have a better offensive line last year.
Maybe.
We win all 3 of those games with a better offensive line last year.
Potentially. So, but here's the problem is that we had a shitty-ass defense, and right now, I don't know.
Right.
Is I can understand how you guys say there was a possibility to do this. Is that's why I continue to say is that if we win 7, I'll be like, holy fuck, this is good news. I'll be like, oh my God, the offensive line's getting better. We're going to draft a tackle next year. Maybe even we don't even have to go and we can stick with Teddy Bridgewater for another year. Maybe we will have all these other conversations. Maybe we go and get a free agent quarterback. Who knows? Or maybe we get Trevor Lawrence. But I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think we're going to be bad. That's what I think.
Well, the reason why I really feel like this, why 7-9 is not positive for me, is because if we went last year, we won 1 game, and say we got the top pick and we got Burrow, or we got a quarterback that we felt like could be a quarterback in the future if we got rid of Cam, okay? Then if we go 7-9 the next year, I'm okay with that. Rookie quarterback, first year, going 7-9. We got rid of Cam Newton for Teddy Bridgewater. If we go 7-9 next year, kiss my ass. We could have done that with Cam Newton or better.
We should have tanked last year. We should have tanked with the old squad.
Not good.
I think why I'm irritated by this is I want the tank job to be with the old administration, not with the new.
I get that.
Is that so? Really, is that us? Is that if we would have just lost 2 more games?
Well, yeah, because it speeds up the process. But I mean, it is what it is, man. It's the difference of 1 year. Yeah, we wish
the
it would have
difference
happened
of 1 year. No, it could be the difference of a decade, Cody. Because look at how many teams have said that. Look at how many teams have said that, and fucking, it's not worked.
Yeah, but the old regime.
7-9 next year.
The old regime. the old regime was never going to tank, though. Ron Rivera and Cam Newton were playing
They
for
were tanking. They
sucked.
sucked. I don't even know how they won 5.
You know what? That Cam
You just
Newton
made the
foot-
argument. You made the argument earlier about how good they were by showing the records year by year.
Cam
You can't-
Newton.
No, last year. We
Tanked
won
our
5 games. We were not good. I said that was a bottom year.
I think 2 years in a row, Cam Newton's foot started the domino effect that made everything go to shit.
All right, let's go to the next call. You're right. Well, the foot. The foot is the domino. Yeah, and I want us to have Cam. So here we are tanking. I don't know. But I don't think I don't think that. How about this? I'm not putting my money on us winning more than 5. I already put my money on the other way.
On it.
You bet 10 on it. All right. Next call.
I don't believe we'll do it though. No.
It's a silent call.
Greg, I do want you to lose $10. I'm just saying.
I thought this. Look,
Yeah.
Somebody.
We'll lose $10. Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
What do y'all think about PJ Walker and his future with the Panthers?
Ooh. PJ Walker. Does he start over Teddy Bridgewater?
That's not what it said. Wouldn't that be some crazy shit? Hey, what if Teddy Bridgewater gets hurt like the first game of the season or something? And we're like, I feel bad for Teddy, but here we come, Trevor.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what
all
you
of a
want.
sudden- and then all of a sudden, PJ Walker comes in and just balls out.
So Teddy Bridgewater posted his workout stats the other day on Twitter, and he rode his bike 70 miles.
Stationary bike or bike?
No,
bike?
like a bike. It was like a 5. It was something. It might have been like 140 miles. It was something like, oh my god, he rode his bike for 5 hours straight at a fucking pace, bro, like mountain pace.
Yeah.
Like it was badass. Jordan Rodriguez put it up. All right, next call.
Hey, this is Anthony Rochelle. How's
What's up,
everybody
man?
doing?
We're pissed.
Just wanted to tell you about these players we signed. How the Panthers signed offensive line, Javon Bussell Beatty.
Oh yeah, whoever that guy is.
Betty and Chris Orr, linebacker from Wisconsin. They look like monsters, like really, really good players. Let me know what your thoughts about it. I really like Chris Orr, the linebacker. He looks like he'd be a really good fit for us. Alrighty. I will chat with you guys later.
All right, man.
Hope everything's good. Go Panthers.
All right, thanks for the call. Well, here, you've heard it. I think the line's gotten better. And add that name, Chris Betty, to it. And he's probably already been cut for all we know. Hey, Cody thinks it's going to get worse. I don't really see how you could think it would be worse, though.
I mean, worse than what? I mean, worse.
It can't be worse than 2018. How about that?
But that was it. Because that was a tease, though.
How was it a tease?
Because we started out good.
But our offensive line stunk the whole time.
Even when we were 6-2?
Yeah, they were sorry. Matt Khalil was out there getting his ass busted every play.
I don't think that we were saying that at the time.
I think 2016 offensive line was worse than last year.
Oh, when Michael Orr got hurt? Yeah.
That was the year before.
That was 2016.
Was,
year after the Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty bad then.
I just did a little search of my draft notes and just to see what came up. Chris Orr, I did look at, the linebacker from Wisconsin, and one of the only things I have for Chris is he's a hustler. So he's a
lunch pail guy.
Yeah, he's not very athletic. He doesn't have a bunch of crazy stats, but he'll hustle his ass off.
CK, stop playing Warzone.
I'm not playing Warzone.
Liar. All right.
It's solitaire.
Hey, this is Tanner up in Elkin, and I was just on Facebook, and I'm a member of a Pokemon Go page for Charlotte, but I just noticed Marquise Haynes posted asking for the best places to play Pokemon Go. Just thought it was funny, and you guys comment on that. Thanks.
Hey, one, thank you for keeping your ear to the ground, brother. And B, two, you guys are total nerds.
I used to play the shit out of Pokemon Go. What are you talking about, bro? Dude, I had the Pokemon at every gym around my house. So if you were fighting somewhere around my house, you were fighting my fucking Pokemon, bro. Step up.
I don't know what a Pokemon is. It's one generation after me, I'm pretty sure.
You're so old, Tony Dunn.
I think me too.
Oh, well, so here, Marquise Haynes, though. Oh, interesting point, though, is that if he's still asking for Pokemon Go stops in Charlotte, is that he's still part of the equation.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean,
that's a name. We're going to be interested. You never know. Maybe the defense is a little bit better with a Weatherly. I don't know. We'll see. Is that defense was so bad last year, it's hard to see it being worse. But next call.
Panthers podcast, how y'all doing?
Yo, G.
RCA, how y'all doing? I hope you and you guys' families and loved ones are being safe in this shit that we got going on with this coronavirus. Hey, man, I'm going to keep you guys really quick. I mean, I'm not going to keep you guys long. Excuse me. I've been drinking because it's Cinco de Mayo. Nah, I'll tell you, dude, the last time I talked to you guys, I talked about Chin is going to be a player. I think it's going to surprise everybody. But I was looking at this dude's highlights. This other dude, that Gross Matos, defensive end dude from Penn State.
Oh, he's nasty.
Man, I think this dude is going to cause some damn havoc, man. With him
that's
to put Burns on the other end or whatever, that's going to cause some damn havoc. That's my opinion. I mean, he wasn't no damn, like, Julius Peppers. I'm not comparing him to Julius Peppers or even Charles Johnson. Or take it back in the day to Al Wallace or Michael Rucker. I'm just saying this dude is long as shit, man. This dude is strong. To me, he's not really all that fast. He runs like he's flat-footed, but his damn bend and Cody, you know how it is with the bend. The dudes can bend around that damn corner or whatever, man. That son of a bitch is long as hell. That motherfucker is 6'5", the same height as Cam Newton, man. I see him.
I know. I like this pick.
4 sacks, man. At least.
I like the pick. I like the pick a lot.
Our defense is going to be good this year. I think our defense is going to keep us in a lot of games this year. And I'm calling it now. We're going to make the wild card. That's my opinion.
Ooh, I'm paying Greg up.
People are coming to my side on that. You know,
I don't care what nobody else says, man. You know, they hate on the Panthers anyway. So give me your thoughts on Gross Matos. And always remember, my homeboys, keep pounding.
My man. Good call right there. I'm a big fan of the pick. I think it's going to work. I think it might take a little time, to be honest, but I like that. I like the kind of Mike Rucker type comparison.
How about this? I think it's very okay. So one, Gross Matos was my favorite pick of the draft. Out of every player we picked, that's my favorite one that we picked. He was my second-rated defensive end in the entire draft, and it's unfair to compare anyone to Chase Young. Number two, I would not be surprised if Gross Matos or Gross Matos or whatever the hell, however you want to say it, if he had a bigger impact on the team next year than Derrick Brown does, visibly. So I think that he's going to be in the backfield more, and I think he's going to have a higher stat number than Derrick Brown. Now, again, you're not really drafting Derrick Brown to pass rush necessarily. I mean, you do, but that's not his primary focus. But, you know, I think Gross Matos is a mauler.
So are we going to have him on one end and Burns on the other?
Yeah.
That's going to be nasty.
Yeah, that'll be nasty.
That'll be nasty.
Good news, people. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
We got KK back and you got Brown. Yeah.
Next call.
Good.
What do you think the future for Cam Newton is going to be?
What
team is he going to be
Finally got to it. Thank you, Kohler. Thank you. Sounded like
Joey, I think.
Yeah, it did sound like Joey. Hey, little girl. The future of Cam Newton is a Patriot. That's what I think. I'm sticking to my story. I've said it all along. right now, Cam Newton remains unsigned. The big news, I guess, or continued news surrounding that was Andy Dalton was picked up by the Cowboys, who gave him $7 million.
Yeah.
They're going to be paying their quarterbacks $42 million next year combined. If they have the 35 or whatever and the 7, oh my gosh, or 37, it's going to be close to that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I think this is that one is the coronavirus continues to change the way things work, and the question marks with Cam Newton were about his health, or I think that's what people think. Shoulder, foot, who knows which one. And from what I can tell, is Cam doesn't want to be a backup, so he's going to wait his turn until he gets signed, or someone gets hurt, or someone he can visit a facility and show him what he can do.
Someone gets hurt. That's what I think. I think he's just waiting for.
You think Stedham is the dude?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they have signed him yet? I mean, I hope he signs. I want him to go and sign with the Patriots.
Because the Patriots are good at I shouldn't have said that. With really negotiating cautiously. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're going to get him for peanuts. Like, they're the guys that got Randy Moss for a 4th-round pick, dude.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean...
they ain't showing their hands until they got to. That's my theory.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about Cam anymore, because I'm starting to think that all the stupid opinions that we have railed against about Cam Newton forever, he's totally inaccurate. He's a one-read quarterback. All this bullshit.
Hey.
I kind of have the feel that maybe more people think that than we previously thought possible. Either that, or he's just not able to be cleared by a team's doctors, and that's prevented him from getting a job. But I don't know why he wouldn't have signed.
Who is there really? I mean, I think it's surprising the Bears went for Foles, right? I could have seen that. But really, is the Chargers drafted homeboy, your guy?
The Jags are surprising they don't go for him. I think he's better than Minshew.
I think the Jags are tanking.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're tanking for Trevor.
Oh, maybe. I think Cam will settle for a backup spot.
I don't.
You don't?
Nope. I think he'll wait for somebody to get injured that's out there. I think, or he's going to wait for Stidham to crap the bed, and then he's going to have a job. I mean, let's be honest. If somebody has a poor performing quarterback that they've signed this year, they're gonna pull the trigger on a Cam Newton the moment they possibly can, because they're gonna have a fan base that's gonna sit there and say, "Wait, we're playing Nick Foles over top of, and he is just crap in the bed." Over top of Cam Newton, who is on the market and will probably be cheaper than Nick Foles.
If Matt Stafford gets hurt, he could be a Lion. If Big Ben gets hurt or doesn't look right, he could be a Steeler.
He could be a Steeler, yeah. If the Ravens get hurt, or if what's his name, the guy for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson gets hurt,
yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. What about that? Cam Newton wins the Super Bowl with the Ravens, and people forget about their quarterback.
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah. That would be crazy.
They're not forgetting about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's going to be there for the long haul. If Cam Newton comes in there and does something. If he gets hurt,
he's the next RG3, bro.
Well, I mean, RG3
was the same thing. Rookie,
yeah, rookie of the year, but nothing like Lamar Jackson did. But fair comparison, though, to a certain extent.
If he gets hurt, that's all I'm saying. If he gets hurt, people here look what they did to Cam. They will forget about you in a moment, folks. They will forget about you in a moment. All right, Cody. Pretty much, those are the thoughts on Cam.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're there. I mean, look at Nick Foles last year. He was supposed to be the answer for the Jaguars, and then crunch.
He got hurt right away, dude.
Here's another team, and this is not an original thought. And forgive me for not remembering who brought this up. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Ben Roethlisberger has been hurt a whole bunch, and that's also the same team that brought in Michael Vick a few years ago. So they're not afraid of kicking the tires on an older, big-name quarterback.
I think it's a good fit for him.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great fit for him. I'd rather have Cam Newton than Ben Roethlisberger any day.
Yep.
So, I mean, but I think he's just waiting for a quarterback to get hurt. I don't think he's going to sign before the season starts.
I'm holding out for the Patriots. I don't think Bill Belichick is going to be – I think his pride is too big to be bad this year. We keep talking about Brady need to prove himself without Belichick. Belichick wants to prove himself without Brady just as much. So I can't see him just saying, well, it's the process. We're rebuilding with Stidham. I don't believe that shit. I don't buy it for a second.
No.
All right.
I don't know, man.
Last call.
Hey, what's up, Panther Nation? This is Nate from Harrisburg.
What's up, Nate?
I just want to talk about the draft real quick.
Two more
I want your
calls.
thoughts of what do you think if we would have drafted Isaiah Simmons, and then in the second round we would have got Ross Blackrock, that defensive tackle guy from TCU who's just stud, and then we got all the other draft picks for the same, like Jeremy Chin, all the other people, but just the first two picks instead of getting Gross Matos and Derrick Brown, we got Isaiah Simmons, and then we went D tackle the second round. How that would have been out. Yeah. But that's just my thoughts. We just went Isaiah Simmons and D tackle, and the rest was the same. But yeah, keep doing what you guys doing. Hopefully we kill it. Good thing we got CMC under contract, and God bless. Peace.
Great question, and I like that way of framing it too. So it's not like too many hypotheticals. Is that you don't get too much of a butterfly effect there. But because we said that Chin was a good comp, a lot of people have referred to him as Isaiah Simmons light. So here, what do you think about that, Cody? Is how would you have looked at this draft? You've been very favorable of the draft. How would you have felt if we would have gone Simmons and then Black Rock? I felt like that.
That's a dangerous one. You can mess up and say something.
What could you say? What could you say?
I mean,
like big black.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you talking about some BBC?
I thought you guys were talking about like that private
big black rock
military contracting company.
Yeah, right there. That is what I was talking about. No, listen. So everyone knows what I thought of Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons is a stud, and he would have been very useful specifically in this division. And I liked Blacklock too. I think Blacklock. He played at TCU mainly at one tech, and I think now for the Texans he's mainly going to be a three tech. He's much more athletic than they used him as at TCU, so I would have been fine with that. I just think one of the reasons why I was so high on the Panthers draft in retrospect is because you're not looking at one particular player. You're looking at them all. And when you take Derrick Brown, K'Wan Short, who we're hoping has a return to form, Derrick Brown, K'Wan Short, you put Brian Burns, who has this incredible get-off, and now you add Yetur Gross-Matos, and that's just, all things considered, that has the potential, granted, to be one of the best defensive lines in the NFL.
So you're saying stand pat, trust in Marty Hurney.
I'm saying that I like what
brought it back around.
Even though I didn't you notice how I don't even oblige Tony when he tries to bring me to that level. I refuse to do it. All I'm saying is that this draft, with when you look at all the pieces in context, I think it's probably the better one. Although I think Isaiah Simmons would have been a more worthwhile pick at number 7. But that wouldn't have been bad either if it went that way.
All right, 2 more calls.
What are your guys' opinion on P.J. Walker and his future with the Carolina Panthers? Keep it up with the podcast, guys. Love it.
Man, thanks for the call. P.J. Walker is here. Is that, I don't know. Who knows? Is that he kind of had all those, here is that I think that if you guys are right about Teddy Bridgewater being injury prone, right, which I don't think there is evidence to show that he's not, right, necessarily. I mean, we haven't seen, it's not like all of a sudden he's been starting for 12 years and you guys are bringing up the injury prone. So I think that's reasonable to say, hey, his record, the jury's still out on that. So I think the good news is if Teddy goes down, you got maybe somebody who run around and survive a little bit. And then you're tanking for Trevor. And hopefully that guy is going to solidify a backup role. How do you guys, am I pretty much on the trail, guys?
I think so.
I mean, never know. Maybe he's the next Kurt Warner, right? That's what Kurt Warner did. It's like a nobody that comes into somebody, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. Is that he's got familiarity with Matt Rhule. He's young, and he would fit perfectly on a team that's in the midst of a rebuild and is not going to win but 4 games.
How many bad games do we have to have before we start calling for PJ Walker?
One. You know what? Is what we all calling for Cam
after last year.
Allen had.
He started hot. Didn't he win like 3 or 5 or something like that?
He went 6-2. He won the first 4, right?
Yeah. He won the first 4, yep.
Oh yeah,
and then we put in Greer week 14 or
week 15.
Yeah.
Greer played 2 games at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's a great question. How many bad games? What is the stat line that calls that all of a sudden we go, it's PJ time? You know what? I'm going to tell you this, is that it's going to be PJ time all next season. You better go ahead and get the Everclear out and start making your bathtub full of PJ because you're going to need it. No. Here's the next call.
Yo, this is Daniel Ashford. My fault. I seen the call thing on the screen. I feel kind of slow. But if you take it now, I'd be so appreciative. But what I wanted to say is this. The draft, what we did, to me, is the best outcome that we could have expected come out this draft. Either to me, really what I wanted us to do was draft a corner first. I wanted us to get C.J. Henderson, then go get the Oklahoma D tackle second. It's because I know what our division is. We play in the NFC South, and our division is full of, it's pretty much elite quarterback play and elite wide receiver play. So you got to have somebody to guard somebody. Sure. But Derrick Brown he was pretty much almost a safe bet pick, especially going beside Kwan Short. Then with Derrick Brown, and we got the Gross Montu guy to go beside them. And thinking about Marquise Haynes. And then I don't know why people sleeping on Chris Miller, because Chris Miller with Alabama played with his hands in the dirt. Bro, once he gets his skill set correct, down pat, he's going to be a decent pass rusher. Like our pass rush to me is perfect. Only thing that's questionable with us is our linebacker play is okay. It's okay, and our corner play is pretty much okay, and our secondary play is pretty much okay. We hoping that Jeremy can hit. And also I want to say this as well. Real quick, I wanted to say this as well. But I do like to see what our offense is going into. I do think our offense is going to be very efficient. Only thing I do think that we slack on is a tight end. Without a proficient tight end like a Travis Kelce or somebody like a George Kittle, I don't feel like our tight end play is going to be that serviceable. It's going to be an average tight end. Even though, I can't really say that because even in his Joe Brady's, system, his system is more lenient to just average tight ends. You'll need a playmaking tight end. You just need someone that's average.
Yeah, when was the last time New Orleans had a tight end, right?
Off the chain.
Jimmy Graham.
If y'all take this call, I'll be very appreciative, man, and I just want to also hear y'all thoughts as well, just about our overall team. I do think we are going to make the playoffs, thing like that sneakiness. I think our team is very athletic on defense, and we're very athletic on offense. Like, we're everything that we need. We're young and very athletic. We have a lot of energy, and it's crazy. And also in our staff is also young with a lot of energy. So I just see us doing a lot of energy thing. And I can see us being that sneaky team, because I do believe the NFC South, which might be crazy. Like we could possibly have, I don't want to say 4 teams, because I don't want to say that's almost impossible. But I do think we have the chance, because our division is so tough, and I do believe top to bottom, every team in our division stack up. But I do hope y'all have a great day. Just let me know what y'all think as well.
Hey man, great call.
That was a call of the night.
Appreciate you, Daniel. Yeah,
Great
man.
call.
Great call, man.
Yeah, that was an incredible great final call of the night. To be honest with you.
He said a lot there too. That was meaningful. You know, I mean, I don't know. But what part you want to hit on first?
Well, one I want to talk about the defense real quick.
Okay.
Is because I think I like what he's saying, right? And I agree with it. Is that I think that all of a sudden in 2 years we're going to be talking about this front being nasty and we added a piece and this and that. So I don't know if it's going to translate next year into straight wins or something like that. That's my thing. But I think this is that if we all of a sudden start to see a young defensive line start to be cultivated and we start to see those 3-4 linebackers start to play better, then we're starting to go, hey, we're one corner away from this being a really good defense, add a linebacker or something. So, yeah, I think this is that for me is I don't need to have wins next year to be optimistic about the future. If we see those things that you're talking about, if we see Christian Miller all of a sudden start to, but and he was, look, he got sacks when he played. He was productive last year, right? Every rookie who played last year was remarkably productive given the limited amount of action they saw, right? Brian Burns, very productive. Christian Miller had 2 sacks in a game or something like that. It was just the problem is that it never came together all at once. So if I start to see a budding defense, right, and we can get around these guys and say Derrick Brown's a monster, Gross Matos is great, we're going to add somebody else in the future, I'm going to be excited. I just don't know if it's going to translate into wins in the immediacy. There are those questions in the secondary, and right now, the corner, we got no corner play, and he's right. Is that, look, let's not just act like Pride Jr. going to come in there and tear it. We got a small corner group, too. That's the other thing, is we're short. And according to you guys, their arms are a quarter inch shorter than the average arm length of real cornerbacks in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. But they jump a quarter inch higher. So
Yeah. So
they run a 4.4.
Even
quarter inch fast.
So what your thoughts about the defense, guys, real quick, and then we'll turn to the offense.
I do want to say this, though. I do think that we haven't seen the best out of a lot of players. And I include Christian Miller and Ian Thomas in that list. He said that he was disappointed that we didn't take another tight end.
Or that we don't have one. He didn't, not necessarily in the draft, but that's the question about our offense.
And it's not even that we don't have one. One of my biggest criticisms of Ron Rivera was his lack of ability to implement younger players into the game plan.
Always a problem.
It was always a problem, and then it's not a coincidence that you started to see more Ian Thomas as the season went on after Ron Rivera had already left. So I do think that you're going to see, this is a new lease on life for a lot of players on our football team that have maybe been underutilized and underserviced, like Marquise Haynes mentioned earlier. Maybe
this is why I want to see growth next year more than wins.
Right, but you said earlier that wins would make the fan base, or not having wins would make the fan base. So if you see a lot of growth and 2 wins, it's going to make the fan base.
If we see a growth throughout the season, we win 3 games, I can understand it. I don't know if the fan base will, but I tell you this is that you guys keep talking about languishing and mediocrity. Is there's a difference between languish and mediocrity and take a step forward. And so I'm okay with us taking a step forward, but I think that step forward doesn't have to include 6, 7 wins, 8 wins, 10 wins. I think we can take a giant step forward, and we'll be like, Brian Burns is about to be a beast. Derrick Brown's about to be a beast. It's all about 2021, right? And I think anything that we get in 2020 is kind of gravy.
Well, what the caller was saying about the defensive line was he brought up the points of, we have the potential to have a great defensive line, which I think we will have based on what we've got, a good defensive line. Then we're okay in the second level with linebackers. We're okay in quarterbacks and the safety area. If you're going to be really good at one, well, the thing is, if you're going to be really good at one of those 3 levels, defensive line is where you want to be really good, because a good defensive line helps out.
I agree.
The linebackers and quarterbacks.
It's easier to
that's where
cover
you want to
those
be
blemishes.
the strongest at.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a good thing to look forward to.
All right, let's turn now to the offense. Is that it really, Cody? Why are you so? It's okay to be high on Ian Thomas, but like he's all there is.
Yeah, well, I feel I remember watching his tape, being like, man, this guy has some moves. He does have. He has good speed, good hands. By the way, he has like 11-inch hands. Like when they measure you at the combine, from the tip of your thumb to the tip of your pinky finger, that's how they measure your hand. And he has like crazy big hands. Which, if you want a receiver to catch the ball, you want crazy big hands, and he's got them. But I think that you can't. How many times are we going to bring up Cameron Artis-Payne and the lack of opportunities that he frankly deserved? He
all that is fine and well. It's just banking on it that's been the problem with the Carolina Panthers in the past, is that they've banked on it working, like the plan working. And right now there's no alternate. There's no alternative. It's like Ian Thomas better be fucking good this year, or else we got no tight ends. Nuns.
Yeah.
Good job, man. Hurts? Or is he gone?
Oh God, who knows?
Manhurst is gone. I'm pretty sure, isn't he? No.
Got to be with Ron Rivera. Him and Paul.
I know we got Seth, that guy Seth. And I know we had signed another couple of people. I think some undrafted free agents that I know had some connections to Rhule.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think we did pick up a tight end undrafted free agent. I think you're right.
Yeah, but all of that, we've done that every year for the last 10 years, and none of them have done shit. What was the guy that people were high on a couple of years ago? God, what was it? We
Carolina?
had, we drafted him in the 7th or something, and people thought he was going to be good. Nobody cares about these mugs anymore. And then we had old Swole Bones for a minute. That's who we were high on for a little while. That was that one guy. Remember, he fought somebody in the end zone. He took up for Cam. I have a Cam Wow signed by him. What's his damn name? Can't remember it. Obviously, he was awesome. Okay. That's all it. That's it. That's all the calls. That's the show. Are there any other topics? Did we miss anything? Oh, yeah. And we got to go against Hall of Fame quarterbacks this year. So, do you remember a 2 years ago when Herbert had a meltdown? Brandon Herbert had a meltdown on the show talking about how Jameis Winston and Drew Brees and Matt Ryan were going to smoke our fucking defense so bad because of the corners. He had an absolute meltdown on that. And again, it came back to this. I think we had some crazy amount of sacks that year and we were all right. You can't have bad. They both can't be bad, Greg. That's the point. Defensive line and Brandon Williams. Thanks, J-Dub. So we need that defensive line to play better than expected, because that secondary is going to have to play better than we think they can. All right. Any other? That's all the football topics I can think of. Oh, I saw Brashard Breeland got arrested for smoking weed at a gas station.
How about this? I don't even know if we want to. It's just a rumor right now, but the rumor being reported is that the Panthers will open the season against the Kansas City Chiefs at prime time. I think at 8:20 at night is what I'm.
Why would they do that?
In Carolina or in Kansas City?
In Kansas City.
Yeah.
So we had to play on the road after our Super Bowl. I guess they are the winners.
Yeah, they're the winners. They get the.
Did you guys hear about the story about the espionage that's going on between Sean Payton and Joe Brady and this backup quarterback? Did we talk about that last week?
No,
we didn't. At the same time, that was going to be my ice up pick. that the Saints are slimy as shit.
All right, well then let's
Dude,
jump
they're
into the ice
I
up
cannot
picks.
stand these boys.
Yeah.
It's the time of the show where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, get it together. Don't forget to follow, subscribe. Cody, ice up the slimy Saints.
Yeah, the slimy ass Saints, man. So there is a quarterback from, I believe, Penn State. I believe it's Penn State. The school escapes me at the moment. But Joe Brady was but the Panthers were going to sign this player. His name is Tommy Stevens. And Joe Brady liked him and had a connection with him. And apparently, the Panthers had already been in contact with him and saying, they offered him a contract to come be an undrafted free agent. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of the times, if you're in the draft and you're in like the 6th or 7th round, a lot of players will say, no, just don't draft me. I'll go undrafted and I'll just choose the place that I get to go. Because the difference in money between a 6th and 7th round pick and an undrafted free agent, it's not all that different. So a lot of players decide to go undrafted and pick where they're going to go. Well, that's what Tommy Stevens was going to do, and Tommy Stevens was going to come to Carolina until the New Orleans Saints swoop in because they either get wind of this or they don't want Joe Brady to have his player or whatever, and they draft the player in, I believe, the 7th round. And it lets you know the level of butthurt that Sean Payton has. He is furious that, one, Joe Brady left the Saints for LSU. But on top of that, now he's back in division with Teddy Bridgewater. Sean Payton's petty ass is mad.
Oh, yeah.
So to Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints, ice up, son.
There you go.
All right, who else wants something? Oh, I'm going to check this. Who else wants to ice somebody up? Cody, you come. Okay, good, because CK doesn't come with ice up picks.
Okay.
Damn.
So I hate to go political on my ice ups because if you know me, you know I'm not a political guy. I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. I think they're all idiots. I think they should come together and have the best ideas instead of always being against each other. But I like to be educated in my arguments whenever I talk to people about politics. So I got a bunch of friends at work that told me I should start listening to Rush Limbaugh and his show during the day. And, were telling me about his views and how he's, just a bunch of compliments about how great he was. So I've given it a chance. And for about a week, I've been listening to it. And I'm icing up Rush Limbaugh because the first time I turned the show on, the first thing he says is he is calling Democrats idiots. And then he goes, well, I don't want to insult them. They're not idiots. They're just really ignorant, which is also an insult. And he goes, and every time you tell them or every time you say something that they don't agree with, all they do is call you names and tell you you're wrong, which is exactly what he was doing, was calling them names and telling them they were wrong. So to Rush Limbaugh, I say ice up. Recognize what you're saying if you're doing the exact same thing you're calling somebody out for. So ice up.
It's almost like all these politicians and all these political pundits are hypocrites, dude.
Right.
I tell you this, if you can listen to Rush Limbaugh for more than 45 seconds without slamming your head into the steering wheel, it's just entertainment. The problem is this. I don't really have a problem with him as much as how much sway he has and influence.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's the problem, is that people don't find it ridiculous at times. But he's a mastermind at the same time. He's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I told the guys today that I said I would listen to. I was like, I can't do it anymore. Like, I've tried, and I've given it a chance to listen to it, and I hear your thoughts, but I just consistently point things out that are hypocritical, and I guess everybody's like that, I suppose. But I'm not defending the other side. I'm just saying with this right here. So, but there it is. Ice up.
CK, you got anything?
Man, I got just the work that I do. It's so hard for me to not try to just put that into the ice up. All I'm gonna say is don't let Corona define you as a human being. Like, Don't let it. There's too many people that I talk to on a regular basis that allow themselves to become less of a good person just because coronavirus is out there and they're comfortable doing it now. It's same thing like, so for instance, what will happen a lot while I'm doing debt collections, I know that can probably, some people might look at that as being a negative on me. I find it to be really rewarding, but nonetheless, like after a tragedy, for instance, if there was a hurricane or something, the amount of people that claim that to be the reason that they can't pay on their bills just because it's okay in the eyes of creditors and things like that to not, that's, if that's the reason, no, we can't argue that. But is just, the problem is in this world today, we've created this environment of entitlement. And so it's a tough thing. And I think it's a controversial thing to say that, but I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people who have actually had a tragedy or have actually been affected by these things. And because there's so many people that are claiming to be affected by something that didn't even really didn't hurt them at all, right? And I'll give you guys an example. Right now, somebody that I work with has he decided to take a leave of absence from work. He didn't need to. He decided to, under the guise that his daughter, he has to stay home and watch his daughter, who he has, somebody to watch for him. Like, it's not a problem. Like, it's not an issue whatsoever. But he decided to take a leave of absence from work and draw unemployment while he's doing it. So he made the decision to leave work. Now, here's what's even funnier about the situation. He put in his 2 weeks notice because he was looking for another job the entire time.
Opportunity strikes.
Wow.
I'm just saying, when you look at it from that perspective, and I'll put it in this as well. He's a conservative. He's one of these people who look at people who are on Medicaid and welfare and all of this as being less than humans, right? Because they could be out there doing something to better society.
They smoke weed on your dollar.
Yeah, and so and that's the mindset that he has. And then I find out he's doing this, and I'm like,
they live in luxury shitholes.
Exactly. And so, but I hate that there are people out there who take advantage of these systems, because the people that are actually in tragedy are actually having a harder time getting these benefits because of it. There are so many people out there applying for unemployment that don't need it, that do not need it. And people that can. I talk to people all the time. I've been waiting for my unemployment for 3 weeks. Every time I go to the website, it's crashed. I don't know what to do. But then you talk to somebody who was probably about 19 years old and used the credit cards that he has for video game consoles and never made a payment on them. But he's drawing unemployment and he's okay. He got his unemployment, no problem. It's people like that I think ruin the situation for people. So people that want to take advantage of a tragedy and use it for their own benefit and make it okay to be a bad person, in my eyes, ice up.
Ice up.
I mean, we tend to want to, or a lot of people, I think it's almost human nature to hope to find some other reason for why their situation there is theirs except for themselves. And I'm not saying that those factors aren't true, but we all, anytime I hear someone say like, this is because of this, this is this, usually is that might be the case, but the only thing you control is what you do. So I try to worry about that. I'm going to renew one ice up pick real quick. It's not my central pick, and that continues to go to Google and Microsoft for really just shit in the bed on this Zoom opportunity of quarantine. They really have just missed. Look, so Google has struggled with its video conferencing because it just never was confident in it. We started with Hangouts. It was this awesome thing where you could do a lot. They started to remove features because they didn't like to keep up with it. They then took it out of the YouTube integration. They switched over to Duo. It's just they never had any. They're so wishy-washy about it. They had the leg up on it. Microsoft as well, too, with Skype. How they lost to Zoom, I don't know. But news comes out, Google Meet's going to be free in Gmail soon for everybody. So they're trying to make a push. But Google, a little too late in some ways. I'm a Google fan, so I hate to see when you guys lose.
I know.
My ice-up pick, it's not... let me see. How do I put this? I don't have an ice-up pick. I want to tell you guys about something I'm doing right now instead of an ice-up pick. And maybe you guys can... I'm icing up... Who was it that told me? I know exactly it is. It's on Twitter. It's my man. I've been talking about JCVD all week with him.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes, is that my man said this is ice up Jean-Claude Van Damme's groin for all the splits he does in the movies. So somehow I got nostalgic. Hold on, where is homeboy? I should know his name. I know his name. I got nostalgic this week. It was late this weekend. My wife was out of town. I'm sitting here playing cards, drinking beer, staying up late. And, Matt Ivy. Thanks to Matt Ivy. We're icing up Jean-Claude Van Damme's groin. So I got nostalgic. I was like on a recommended movie, like it popped up on Amazon Prime, Double Impact. And so I went back and I watched Double Impact, which is like a 1994 film by Jean-Claude Van Damme where there's two of them, a twin brother. It's an amazing movie. It's wonderful. It totally held up. In fact, I would argue it's one of his best movies ever. I know Bloodsport is the easy one. So anyway, somehow this drunken JCVD moment of nostalgia, because this was a big movie for me when I was a kid. Not only was he at like the top at the moment, he was doing all the cool shit. I liked Bloodsport. I was a kid, but also every Jean-Claude Van Damme had great boobs in it. So if you're a 12-year-old, you're like, we're watching that shit like 12 times. So I went and watched it, had a great time watching it. I was drunk and this, whatever. So somehow on Sunday, it's final grades. I've been grading. So I put the TV on in the background. I have gone on a Jean-Claude Van Damme marathon.
I heard.
I am 9 films deep since Saturday. Since Saturday late night too, so I've really been pounding the pavement on JCVD. I ordered a hat today off of eBay of Jim, the guy that says "You're next," the guy from Bloodsport that threw the powder in his eyes.
That's a cool one.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's so great. So right now, I'm working on a secret project. I don't think it will ever come to fruition, but it's called Quarantining with JCVD. And the goal is to watch every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie in order.
I don't want to hear you ever talk shit about nerds ever again.
Mister,
let's watch every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie ever made, you fucking nerd.
In order. I actually started doing it, and I said, why am I? And I pulled up IMDb, and I said, why am I not watching this man's career unfold?
You can watch him grow in front of your eyes.
So, Jean-Claude Van Damme, right now, Matt Ivy said he set the over-under at 2 splits per movie. I got to say, it's usually the over. He did, in Kickboxer, he did 3 splits in one scene. That's awesome.
He's just showing off then.
Kickboxer here. I want to say this. Bloodsport, awesome. Lionheart, awesome still. Double Impact, good. Death Warrant, still good. I watched Black Eagle, which he was a secondary character. That wasn't even that bad. That was very good still.
What about Street Fighter?
Not yet. Not there yet. A lot of people talk shit about that one, but I have a secret affinity for that. Who's the guy that was the famous dude that was the sergeant, whatever, that died? He's a big actor. I forget him. He was super. Anyway, so I'm going to give that one a pass. You know what the weakest one so far is? Surprisingly,
What's up?
Cyborg.
Oh, what about, wasn't he in Universal Soldier?
Watched that last night, dude.
Dude, Universal Soldier's the shit. Yeah,
a lot of money went into that mobile RV of theirs that they carried all those dudes around.
Yeah. I remember seeing that when I was young.
So
Like,
the idea that I'm pitching out there is quarantining with JCVD, where I have a show where I talk about my quarantine experience as I watch 78 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Nice. I like it.
Nerd.
Who's next?
Have you watched?
Who's next, though, is the question. Is it... Oh, one other thing. Cool thing I like about these when I watch these is watching the other actors that are in it. Forrest Whitaker is in Bloodsport. Daniel Gibb, who was in Bloodsport. He was also in Revenge of the Nerds. He was Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds. Some things like that. I was thinking a podcast series where you watched an entire actor's career. You start with JCVD, and then you maybe do the whole Expendables cast.
Whoa. That's
epic. It would be good,
podcast.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a fun podcast, yeah. I'd like it.
I'm working
Put
on
me
it.
up, I'll guest on it.
There you go. All right. So ice up JCVD's groin. No splits. 0 splits in Universal Soldier. 0 splits in Death Warrant.
Getting older.
Or
you know,
just didn't fit the part as much. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe. One big one in Cyborg where he's over the guy's head between the two walls and then comes down stabbing him. All right. It's 2.5 hours, Cody. I said I wouldn't go 3. I did not say it was going to be short because I give the long you-know-what.
Yeah, I guess so, man.
Explanation.
The long explanation on how Tony's such a nerd that he will sit down and watch every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie
in order.
Made.
In order.
In order. Yeah.
It's going to get tough. I'm going to promise you this. It's going to get tough around 2000 because the movies after like Time Cop, we're going to hit a real dearth.
I remember Time Cop. Oh, wow.
Hard Target, also one of my top JCVD movies.
I really think I know they had created the role for him, but the fact he wasn't in Mortal Kombat is just a sin.
He should have been, it was Matt Ivy told me he should have been Johnny Chang.
Yeah, that's
he
who
does
he
the
was
splits.
No, he was actually supposed to be the actor guy. That he was actually supposed to be cast as that guy.
Do you know the other thing that's crazy? Go Google this shit. If you guys, I like one of my most important films of my life was The Predator. Like it was important. Like I think it was the first rated R movie ever. Like my dad showed it to me when I was like 5, which is not developmentally appropriate. But original set, you can find pictures of what the Predator was originally looked like, and guess who was supposed to wear the suit? Jean-Claude Van Damme.
JCVD.
And he looked like a big giant mantis. It was terrible. Go look at the pictures. Nobody was happy. Thank you, James Cameron, for sitting beside the director in an airplane saying, you got to make this dude more scary looking.
Yeah, I'm happy with what we got with Predator. He's pretty good.
Fantastic movie.
Pretty badass.
Get to the chopper.
That reminds me of learning that Kevin Nash was Shredder in the Ninja Turtles movie. I didn't know that either.
Oh, and one other fun fact is I heard that originally cast for Rambo was not Sylvester Stallone, but the dude who was in Rain, Dustin Hoffman. How about that shit?
What? No, that would have been terrible.
That would have been so bad.
Definitely go buy your underwear at Kmart. All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. The number's 252-228-5098. CK, I've been on the video games. I've been crushing some home runs. I've been with the kids playing a little Fortnite. My girls are good. We are a decent squad. And turns out the C3 guys are a decent squad sometimes. On Warzone, how can they find out about video games in CK?
So you can find me on Twitch, and that's going to be code Dizzle _Allen. I'm also on the Book of Faces with that exact same username as well. So if you want to go to Facebook, search codizzle_Allen, you should be able to find me there. I stream both places, so that way you'll be able to see me. I stream with these guys. I streamed with Tony last weekend. We had a pretty good time, and basically my gimmick is doing the voice that you guys have come to know and love, and try to surprise people and see what their reactions are, and hope to entertain the people coming to watch me play video games. So.
Here's my thought, Cody, on my intro for quarantining with JCVD is one man in a quest, like Jean-Claude Van Damme was in the movie Quest, watching all of his movies in a period like quarantine. We're going to do something like that. We're definitely doing it.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, lots of podcasts. How many?
Oh, yeah, lots, man. You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. You can talk to me, through these guys that run here. I also do another show. It's the Super Civil Servants Podcast. You can check us out. CK was on there last week, man. I just dropped that episode yesterday. Covered the Two Towers for Lord of the Rings and a little bit of news, some gaming stuff. It was a good time. And then I have a new show coming out, dropping June 2nd. It's going to be first episode. It is the DC Alliance podcast, part of the Ultimate Alliance Network, where we're going to be dropping shows daily. So 5 days a week, you can come to us for comics, movies, DC, Marvel, anything geek you want to, you can come to us for it 5 days a week. Check it out.
P. Thomas says, ice up them murder hornets. My wife told me a story about these hornets that they destroy bees. They decapitate bees. They say if these hornets are out of control, that our bee population will be annihilated.
Which will destroy the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Bees being gone.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
I tell you one thing I like less than bees, and that's fucking murder hornets. Cody, how can they find you?
Yeah, at Cody Lack on Twitter, CODYLAC. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cody Lashing. I've been doing a podcast with my buddy Jeffrey called the Cripple Connection Podcast. And it's all about video games, man. Don't let the cripple part scare you away. But we do it from different perspectives and also just talk about everything in the video game industry. And I'll be doing some more podcasts coming up here soon. So subscribe to my channel as well.
All right, it's Tony Dunn, C3 Panthers Podcast. Check us out next Tuesday. Follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Call into the show, 252-228-5098. And never forget, you got to keep pounding. That's what JCVD would
do. Keep on pounding.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.